Hansar. And we're live, everybody. I'm a little bit behind this morning. But while I'm at it, I shall bring in my bro, Sith Lord.
What's up, everybody?
How are you today, Sith?
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. I don't want to start lying right off the bat. You know what I'm saying?
I'm kind of the same way. So I didn't miss the opening altogether. Happy Thursday, everybody, or Sunday as I call it, because I have a screwed up schedule. Welcome everybody to Bloody Mary Brunch, where I drink Bloody Marys and talk about stupid shit or whatever we find on the internet. So we're getting some people. Jeffrey, Fuels here. Good to see y'all.
What's going on, guys?
Things first, I have to pour myself a Bloody Mary because it's not Bloody Mary Brunch without Bloody Mary. If that, it would just be brunch, and it'd be a weird stream of me like sitting here eating pancakes or something.
I'll be all with that.
Nobody wants to see Han Star's pancake supper.
Yo, bro. Nobody wants to see Hansar's pancakes.
Hey, I make some pretty good pancakes.
I'm not
Just
doubting that. It's just, you know, how that goes.
Yeah.
Why is this in a whole nother Chrome tab?
Dark Gift. What's up, Anthony?
What's up, Anthony?
Jeffrey got him a drink. I got you a beer. Awesome, man. Sipping along on an adult beverage. Well, cheers to you, Jeffrey, and everybody else that's here.
I'm not drinking no alcohol. I do other things, but I'm just waking up. Not in the mood for a wake and bake yet.
I woke up an hour ago.
You guys see me at my worst when I'm going to bed. Now you can see at my worst when I'm waking up.
It's like being married to you.
Yeah, I'm such a diva, you know.
Yeah, I had one of those. This makes it sound like this is like one of them crazy nights. This is how crazy my night was.
Uh-oh.
This is a crazy night for a 40-year-old. I hung out with my wife and ate dinner.
Okay.
Then I started watching movies.
Okay.
And eventually she went to bed. And I kept drinking beer, watching movies. And you know how you get in one of those spurts where you just like watch movie, like every time you watch a movie, it's like you find another movie you want to watch. So it's like you just watch a movie, kind of like binging on Netflix. You just watch a movie after a movie after a movie.
Yeah.
So I ended up watching like 3 or 4 movies and didn't go to bed till like 6 this morning. I pulled an all-nighter drinking beer by myself. And
I'm sorry, that's just funny.
And watching movies.
That's just funny.
I'm a wild and crazy guy. And that was technically my Saturday night. So that's what I did on my Saturday night, was watch movies by myself and drink beer by myself. And went to bed at 6 in the morning.
You could have come hang out with nobody last night. Because, you know, the stream ended, everybody dispersed. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but I actually watched Fallon Reacts play some old school platformer video game. And I was just sitting back, just drinking my drink, smoking a bowl, and watching this old ass video game. I'm like, okay, I'm entertained.
I actually like to watch the game streams. Yeah. You know, I'm not a modern gamer at all, but I like to watch the game streams. Like when Geeky Candy was doing like the Star Wars game, I think she's beat it now, but I would watch those streams because it was just fun to watch her play for some reason. It was funny, you know, her getting frustrated, and somebody said it was relaxing because it wasn't you getting frustrated. I don't know. It just,
I was about to say, why is it got to be about me? What did I do?
No, I meant me. Is who I meant.
I got you. I got you. I got you. No, now believe it or not, some of these more modern games have great, compelling storylines. Um, Destiny is a good one. Now, if you take all the multiplayer out of it, it's got a great story. The one you were watching, Jedi Fallen Order,
Yeah,
has a
that was the
great
name of it.
storyline.
Thank you.
Has a great storyline to it. Even Star Wars Battlefront 2, take all the multiplayer out of it, it's still got a good story. Sometimes those things are almost as good as a TV show or as a movie to watch. But enough about gaming. We're not here about gaming, guys. We're here about some urban legends across the U.S.
Oh, Jeffrey's got him a Widmer Brothers Hefeweizen. Oh, that's a good one. I think I've had that one before. If I haven't had their Hefeweizen, I've had their Dunkel before. It's really good. If you like the darker beers.
Mm. Yeah, but Jeffrey's also. I saw that he's gonna light a big old fatty in honor of me. So yeah, thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah, Candace can't handle herself. It was just funny when she was playing the game
Yeah,
talking about when she'd get frustrated because she's sitting there like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this and do this. Then she starts getting frustrated and she's like, "Fuck you little fuckers! What the she starts cussing and stuff." Is what I thought was funny about it. Yeah,
I'm guilty of it, and any respectable gamer is guilty of it. I shot you first. No, motherfucker, I got you. What? Who's dead, bitch? It shit talking and yelling out and cussing at the TV screen or computer monitor is a way of gaming. It happens. So it's a wonderful thing or it's a bad thing, depending on where your blood pressure is sitting at the time. It's
yeah.
whew.
Yeah, I wasn't saying the Hefeweizen was a darker beer, Jeffrey. I was saying that I think that same company, if I remember right, also makes a Dunkel, which the Dunkel is a darker variety of beer. Yeah, I know Hefeweizen is lighter. It's a wheat beer. But
Did you
enough
say
about beer.
did you say wheat?
Yeah,
Huh. Okay. Never had one of those.
yeah. It's a one of the German styles of beer.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a humongous beer drinker, but I've never heard of a wheat beer. So therefore, yeah, guys, I'm under a rock. Don't hate. Um, that's where I live. I live under I live at 0.1 under a rock lane. So
But it's kind of lighter and crisper. It's normally kind of cloudy looking.
oh, that don't even sound appetizing.
I mean, it doesn't taste. I mean, it tastes obviously different than like Budweiser or something. But I'm saying it's not. It's not like it has chunks of grain in it or anything. It's just.
Oh, I know. It's just
It's like normally it's like unfiltered and kind of cloudy looking.
my
It's normally
my first ex-wife, her mom worked for Anheuser-Busch, so the only thing I've really ever drank as far as beer is Budweiser products. So cloudy beer to me don't even sound appetizing. But that's just me. Everybody has their own taste.
yeah. It's just that style. That's how the style is.
Yeah.
But it is. I don't drink a lot of it, but it is pretty good. I have had it a time or two, but
Moving on.
so now you're saying we can't. We have to actually stay on topic. We can't talk about video games and beer.
We can, that's solely up to you. But then guess what? Guess what, bro? You lied to everybody. Hey, it's about this. But no, we're going to talk about other stuff. We fooled you.
No, but seriously, we are here today. Seth and I are both still waking up, so we're kind of stumbling, but not like in a hungover way. We're just
I'm trying to jumpstart my sarcasm. So y'all give me a minute. It's
so let's start. We'll start with our home states. I think you and I kind of talked about that. We'll start with our home states.
Sure.
And then
let's go down and take a look. We'll start with Florida or Georgia?
Florida's first in alphabetical order, so we can start with Florida.
Oh, okay. All right. That's lovely. The skunk ape.
Have you not heard of this? You hadn't heard of the skunk ape before?
Dude, I ain't heard of nothing, dude. Like I said, I live under a rock. Urban legends, I have no clue. This is all new to me. So I'm kind of interested to see what Florida's urban legends are or legend.
Yeah, if you take old Alligator Alley, the 41 across, original Alligator Alley across from the west coast of Florida, the east coast of Florida through the Everglades.
Right.
There's a skunk ape research center there, and they have a great big huge skunk ape statue outside. Because that's we'll tell the urban legend.
Yeah,
You can see why it's in the Everglades. The Everglades are filled with it. Florida has the skunk ape. I should say that is their urban legend. The Everglades are filled with an array of terrifying creatures: man-eating alligators, man-eating snakes, man-eating roadkill. However, one human-like figure has been spotted enough times to warrant elevated levels of concern. The skunk ape, a relative of Bigfoot, a fully grown skunk ape stands anywhere from 5 to 7 feet tall and weighs approximately 450 pounds. They can be detected by a horrific odor that has been described as sun-baked animal carcass and rotting garbage. That's great.
Ew.
They mostly eat berries and small animals, but from time to time they have been known to ravage farms and tear wild boars to shreds. Oh, this is what I was just talking about. I guess I got ahead of myself. Recently, a skunk ape HQ has popped up in the Everglades where you can book tours out into the swamp or reserve a spot on a hunting expedition to finally prove the hairy beast is real once and for all. Where the urban legend came from. No one can say for sure, but because its lineage can be traced back to Bigfoot, many believe it migrated south from the mountains and found refuge in the swamplands, an environment safe from humans with ample sustenance. There we go. Use your words. And room to roam. Others believe it's just lore, a tale pioneers created in order to scare people off their lands and preserve the wilderness. Whatever you believe, should you find yourself camping in the Everglades and you smell something foul, take caution. It could be the skunk ape. But yeah, it's a relative of Bigfoot, and I've been through South Florida a lot, so that's. And a buddy of mine that we used to take fishing trips to the Keys is a big Bigfoot. That sounds fucking stupid.
A big Bigfoot, yeah.
He's a big Bigfoot fan. So he also looks into the lore of the skunk ape, since everybody seems to agree that the skunk ape is a relative of Bigfoot. So, or descendant, or somehow connected to Bigfoot.
That's interesting. I'm born and raised here. I'm 47 years old. Never heard no craziness like that in my life.
Well, yeah, but you're from, about almost as far north Florida as you can get. So that
I got one more county before the Georgia line, and it's a small county. Literally where I'm sitting at right now, I'm about 25 minutes from the Georgia line. So
that may be why you're not as familiar with it, because it's like I said, it's more of an extreme South Florida Everglades thing. So
yeah,
that may be part of the reason you haven't heard of the skunk ape. I don't, as far as I know, I've never really heard of the skunk ape staying up north. It tends to stay, I guess, in the Everglades
or in warmer climate.
Yeah. So let's see, but yeah, there is if you ever for some reason go down there and take like 75 down the West Coast, get off there in Naples and take 41 or Old Alligator Alley across through the Everglades, and there's a skunk ape research center there, and they got a big ass statue outside of a skunk ape.
Well, if I make it down that way, I'll make sure and if I can remember it, to check it out, because I got some friends that live in South Florida, south to southwest Florida. A couple of friends. Sound like a good little road trip.
All right, so we'll move on to my state, Georgia. I've actually been on this lake before. I have some pictures somewhere of some big ass fish I caught out of there. Georgia, the curse of Lake Lanier.
Ooh.
The massive man-made lake north of Atlanta is unnerving on multiple fronts, with a reputation for tragic and sometimes mysterious deaths from a fuck these words, it's too early. From a disproportionately high frequency of boating accidents and drownings to unexplained homicides. A construction crew discovered the skeleton of a woman who disappeared in 1958, still trapped in her car at the bottom of the lake more than 30 years later. And since then, people have reported sightings of a ghostly female figure on the lake's waters. There are even reports of malevolent catfish lurking on the bottom. They're large enough to swallow a dog or even drown a diver.
What?
Where the urban legend came from. There were numerous issues with the construction of the lake, not the least of which include the displacement of families, businesses, and even cemeteries occupying the land. Man,
Occupied.
Why did I pick something that I had to read? Occupying the land the Army Corps of Engineers sought to develop. The vestiges of some of these structures still have a ghostly presence at the bottom of the lake, which some point to as a source of Lanier's haunted reputation. Others point to the simple water plus alcohol equals accident formula to explain the tragedies. Lanier is a notorious party lake, but as noted above, many of the deaths go beyond simple boating accidents, leading some to believe there's something more sinister at work. I actually have. Well, I just said that. I've actually been on. Wookie, what's up, Wookie?
Good to see you, Wookie.
Actually, no, Fuel. I haven't even drank one Bloody Mary yet. Maybe that's the problem. Is I need to finish my first Bloody Mary. But I've only been up like an hour, so that could be part of it too. I've actually I've actually been on Lake Lanier several times. It's not the closest lake to me, but it's about, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half from me. But I've been fishing there with a buddy of mine a couple times, and I have some. If I was really wanting to be boring, I'd dig through my pictures because I have some pictures of me catching big ass largemouth bass out of Lake Lanier. I tend to believe their explanation that it's too much alcohol plus boating and water equal bad stuff happening. No, I hadn't even had a breakfast beer yet. Oh, Jeffrey's getting it on beer number 4.
Well, hang on, Wookie. Who's scruffy looking?
Oh, I kind of am. I need to clean myself up, but there are a lot of. It is, like I said, it is. The article mentioned it. It is known as a party lake. There's a place there called Party Cove, where like in the summertime on the weekend, it's like hundreds of boats that are like all just out there partying, like a big, block party. Only it's on boats. So it is kind of known for partying. So drink a lot of alcohol, get in a fast boat. Stupid shit happens.
Sorry, Jeffrey, I just saw this. No, I've never been to Fort Walton Beach. I've been as far west as Pensacola, as far south as Miami. But I've been on a tugboat, so not by road.
I don't think I've ever been to Fort Walton Beach. I've been by Fort Walton Beach. I've never actually been there. So anybody else in the chat? These are urban legends from the 50 states. We've done Florida and Georgia. We've done Seth and I's home states.
We can if you want, chat sound off. We can go down to New Jersey if you want. Because we know where Anthony's at.
Yeah, anybody in the chat, if you're in the states and want to throw your state out there, we'll read the urban legend from your state.
Anthony says they had the Jersey Devil.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the one that we'll skip while everybody else is thinking. We'll skip to New Jersey because I'm pretty sure that's what they have on here. Most people have heard of the Jersey Devil. Oh no, this is actually a different one.
Yeah. Use guys. Yeah, sorry about that. That just came out. New Jersey has something called the Watcher. All right. I'm gonna try my hand at this.
But they kind of talk shit about the Jersey Devil at the beginning of it.
Since you can't seem to talk right, I'm gonna give this a shot. How
Yeah,
about
yeah. You go on and read. You go on
I'm
and
gonna
read
try
one.
this. I'm not much of a reader, so I have to hide the fact because I might have to use a magnifying glass. It said, "Let's be real. The average New Jersey Devils fanboy is scarier than the obviously bullshit legend of the Jersey Devil and the Watcher. A legend that creeped its way to viral fame in 2015 is like a David Fincher movie breathes into horrifying life. If you don't know the details, in the summer of 2015, a young family moved into a $1 million house in Westfield, New Jersey. Soon after, they started getting letters signed by someone only IDing themselves as the Watcher, claiming it was his duty to watch over the house while also spouting crazy lines like, "Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested?" And who has the bedroom? Wait a minute. Who has the bedroom facing the street? Holy shit. Where it came from, basically, it says, is this a prank based off a weirdly accepted local legend, a media hoax, a way to drive down real estate prices? It's impossible to know, but I feel very weird. Okay, whoever wrote this must live in Jersey. And somebody's still sending letters to inhabitants of the house. The debate and skepticism uh, still burn in the creepiest corners of the internet, and while it's a fairly new legend. It's probably one of the scariest entries on the list, no matter what you believe. So,
Yeah, I've heard of the Watcher before. It is a scary, freaky story. That I mean, supposedly the people really did get the letters, and there's like a actual evidence involved with it. Whether it's evidence of really being a watcher or some kind of hoax is two different things. But
yeah, Anthony's heard of it.
yeah, and so part of it was something to do with the real estate and them wanting to. They were like trying to sue the people that originally had the house and saying that they should have told them about the Watcher and that they didn't feel safe living there anymore. And they were trying to like tear the house down and split it into two lots and build two houses. So a lot of people thought it was bullshit. They were just trying to make more money. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of different balls in there on that one being juggled around.
He said balls. Huh.
So let's see. Jeffrey wanted, what did he say? Idaho? I think that's what he said. Yeah, Idaho. Let's see. I don't think I've ever heard of an urban legend from Idaho. Oh, so this one's totally new to me. Because like I say, I've never heard of any urban legends from Idaho. You kind of only hear of the popular ones like the Jersey Devil and Bigfoot and stuff like that. The Phantom Jogger of Canyon Hill.
Okay.
There are rumors of many hauntings in Caldwell, Idaho's centuries old Canyon Hill Cemetery, but the one that gets the most attention is the Midnight Jogger. As with many of the best urban legends, you have to do your part to get her attention. In this case, it involves parking between certain trees in the cemetery at night. Do it right, and the legless apparition will knock on your window to let you know she's there, then continues on her route. It's creepy as hell, though now it's only the second worst image conjured when you think of sinister joggers. That must be a different one, a different urban legend from somewhere else. The origins are unknown, though, considering there's another conspiratorial legend that the entire state of Idaho doesn't actually exist. Okay. Perhaps the jogger is just a creation of a deranged and deceptive government. So that's another conspiracy. We talked about conspiracy theories a couple weeks ago. That's a conspiracy theory I've never heard. Idaho doesn't actually exist. Okay.
That's funny as hell.
So Jeffrey, I hate to tell you this, Jeffrey, but you don't exist either.
Yeah, you're all a figment of our imagination.
No, just Jeffrey because he's in Idaho.
Oh,
so if Idaho doesn't exist, then Jeffrey doesn't exist. Chris, what's up, bro? Real Review 3000, Mr. Chris Knight.
Hey, Mr. Chris Knight. What's
Cheers.
going on, man?
Cheers, Chris. Go get you a Bloody Mary.
Yep. How about we honor scroll back down and honor Miss Mayhem, and let's try out Kentucky. Unless anybody else wants to chime in. Chris, how about you? What state you live in? Find out what kind of urban legend surrounds you. Unless you're in Idaho with Jeffrey, then you don't exist.
Yeah.
Dude, what are you doing watching a stream and working? You bad boy.
No, your work won't mind if you have a Bloody Mary.
No.
Just tell them it's V8 juice. It'll be all right.
Curtis, long time no see, brother. Glad you could make it.
What's up, Curtis? Good to see you, man.
Missouri.
Yeah,
Missouri.
We can skip to Missouri then for Chris.
We can do Missouri.
Maybe we can make him scared enough that he goes and gets a Bloody Mary while he's at work.
Oh, it's a little one. Sorry, Chris, you're a little one.
At least it says his state. It doesn't say his state doesn't exist.
True. Well, not yet. We ain't ready yet. So, you want me to take it?
Yeah, you can.
All right, Missouri. Zombie Road. Why it's creepy. The dark canopied trail running through Wildwood, Missouri, just outside St. Louis, has been a hotbed of creepy tales for ages, often revolving around shadowy human figures following and frightening those along the trail. Where's it come from? Originally, it was built, excuse me, built as an access road for the gravel quarries along the Merrimack River. The road fell into disuse and disrepair in the 70s and saw an increase in teenagers flocking to the party / scare the crap out of each other. Hang on a second. I got to do something real quick. I hope I remember where I left off. There we go. That's a little better. The origin stories of the trail's haunting varies widely from the kind of plausible trailway, plausible how would you read this? Hang on. I guess I got to do this way. Hang on. I got to do it this way. People got to freaking see me. Not prepared, guys. Not prepared. It's kind of plausible. Railway accidents executed Civil War spies to the more sensational, sadistic children's hospital. Several years ago, the pathway was paved so it might be used as a bike path, but hasn't done much to slow down the legend. The police are doing their best, however. Yeah, that
You
just
gotta,
that sounds kind of creepy.
you gotta make it sound creepy at the end.
I, I, come on,
Several
y'all are
years,
looking at me. Isn't that creepy enough? What do you want?
several years ago, the pathway was paved, so it might be used as a bike path. But that hasn't done much to slow the legend. You just have to get kind of quiet and close to the microphone.
Han,
Yes, sir.
look, brother.
Oh
The
yeah,
mic can't,
you're
the
kind of
mic can't get much closer without me deep throating it. Okay.
that would be a
What do
whole
you want me
nother
to
stream.
do? Yo,
That
it's really fucking creepy. You know what the fuck I'm talking
you
about?
sticking that microphone in your mouth is
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
creepy.
yeah. You see what I'm saying? I ain't doing it.
Have a good one. Have a good one, Jeffrey.
Take care, Jeffrey.
Appreciate you stopping by. The Gates of Hell. I'll read Kentucky if you want to look up the Gates of Hell in Kansas. That's the other one Chris was talking about. It's another urban legend from his area.
Yeah, let me see if it's even here.
No, it's not in that article.
No, but up top there it gives you like cities. So Kansas City. All our cities. Yeah, Kansas City's not even here. So I guess I'll have to Google it. Because this website has 25 different cities that they've got listed, and Kansas City's not one of them. Through various states. Oh wait, even countries. We got urban legends in Berlin, Amsterdam, London.
So while you look that up, I'll read Kentucky's since that's where I was originally born and where Mary's from. So we'll read Mary's state.
Okay, go ahead.
Just looking at the picture of young Mary. Oh, this is the witch girl of Pilot's Knob.
Well, that explains a lot.
just looking at the picture of young Mary Evelyn Ford's grave feels a bit unnerving, with a series of interlocking white crosses forming a fence around a pit of gravel, and the bars appearing unnaturally bent in some places. Then you hear the alleged backstory. A mother and daughter, both accused of witchcraft, were burned at the stake in 1916. That's a long time. Not that long ago to be burned at the stake for witchcraft. With the mother's charred remains being carried to a far-off location while the daughter was buried in a steel-lined coffin covered in stone and encased in crosses to prevent her escape. Some claim to witness tiny footprints appearing in the gravel, or even a young ghostly figure trying to escape the gravesite. Kid ghosts, as we know, are the creepiest ghosts. Yeah, I could see where they could be. Where it originated. While stories about the gravesite go back decades, it naturally increased in detail with the growth of the internet. There's not much evidence that anyone was burned at the stake for witchcraft in the area in 1916. Even back then, that was generally big news. I would hope it would be big news that you burn a couple people alive. I mean, it is 1916. Mary Evelyn Ford really did die a tragic young death, but the stated cause of death is parodontitis, an inflammation of the stomach lining. It's amazing what a truly unnerving gravesite can do for the imagination. We still wouldn't want to be near it at night.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I would think that would be. Yeah, I would think that would be big news, considering it was 1916. You don't hear people being burned at the stake for being witches in 1916. So I would assume if they just randomly rounded a couple people up and burned them at the stake, that would kind of be noteworthy. Headline: they're at it again. They burning some more people for being witches.
Well, yeah, but you see, you just started it out, and even the woman's first name was Mary, so it's.
Oh, see, I didn't even put those two together, and I know why you laughed when I read the name.
Yeah, it all makes sense now.
I didn't even catch that part.
Yeah, the only thing I'm finding out is the gates of hell in somewhere called Stull, Stull, Kansas. Kansas City is not even mentioned.
Maybe Stull's near Kansas City.
I don't know. Dude,
you're not Google Maps.
No, I'm not from around there.
You're not a cartographer. Why does my phone keep going off?
No, I'm not data. I don't have all that infinite knowledge in my brain. And Google is not my friend, so. Well, Chris, that's great.
Oh, he said that's the place. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the place.
Yeah, he said was it Stull, Kansas, or whatever you found is the actual place.
Yeah. Let's see. Got Roadside America, Wikipedia. Hey, we can look at Wikipedia. They don't lie to us.
But we want to specifically know about, is it the Wikipedia for the Gates of Hell?
Actually, it's for Stull, Kansas, but
of course there may be a section in there that talks about it. We don't want to generally know about Stull, Kansas. We want to know.
No. I think this might be it. I'm going to do this and this. This.
Okay, you want to screen share?
Yeah. Let the people playing at home follow along a little bit.
Except for Curtis, because he's driving, listening to us while he drives. So please don't watch the screen share while you're driving.
Yeah. If you do, pull over, pay attention, then start driving again. When I planned my road trip this summer, I didn't intend on visiting a gateway to hell, but sometimes you just have to seize the day. After leaving Minneapolis on my road trip, my next stop. Oh, I can't freaking see this. Hang on. All right, that's better.
There you go. Blow it. It's better for the people at home too.
Oh hell, if that was the case, here you go. One more time. Give it up. One more time.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's even better.
Yeah. After leaving Minneapolis on my road trip, my next stop was Lawrence, Kansas. I intended to visit some old college friends. I went to the University of Kansas in Rock Chalk.
Oh no, did she put quotes around it?
Yeah, parentheses.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to read that without doing. I'm very new at this, guys, so bear with me.
I was gonna say if she put it in quotes, she was probably talking about dude she got drunk and banged when she was in college. But anyway, I digress. Go ahead, Seth. I'm sorry.
No, continue, please. I'd like to hear about this story.
Kansas really.
Chris, we'll get to that one later.
No, I'm saying Chris said Kansas really is the gateway to hell.
Well, it all depends on what kind of hell you're talking about. Um,
The Wizard of Ooze. Okay, go ahead and say it.
and, yeah, that's cool. And they use it as a base to explore a little bit of Kansas City. On my last afternoon in town, I found myself with a few hours to kill and decided to partake on one of the very favorite college pastimes, driving to the gates of hell to see Stokes Cemetery. Uh, Now, living on the East Coast for the past 10 years, I learned that this is not something universally understood in the US, let alone abroad. So let me explain. Country driving is where you go driving out past the edge of town with the purpose of getting lost, exploring the countryside, or killing time. I've done that myself. Uh, this might involve smoking some illegal mood enhancers,
We all know you've done
or
that.
uh, yeah, or it might not. For me, on this trip, it did not. I wanted to imbibe some nostalgia and perhaps get a good shot or two of the Kansas countryside. Uh, that's how I ended up in Stull, which is a place you don't typically try to end up. Stowe is a tiny town. It would barely fit on a postage stamp. The roads are indistinguishable from driveways, which I figured out after about 10 minutes of someone's property. Uh, there don't seem to be any open businesses, excuse me, and the town remains unchanged from the last trip there circa 2005. Now, that would be great to know if I knew when this article was written. Uh, Weird stories and rumors circulated about the cemetery there for decades. When I was in school, the main one was it was one of the seven gates of hell. It was widely believed that the Pope would not fly his plane over Stull for that reason. That's not nothing we need to see. Was that out? All right. You want to know how to get there, guys? Here it is. From Lawrence, uh, Kansas. Stoll Cemetery is about 20-minute drive west of town. If you leave via 6th Street, you can use Google Maps. Just note that it might have you go past the cemetery to a person's house. The cemetery is kind of hard to distinguish from the highway, but directly across the street from a red brick building, the cemetery will be on your right. From Topeka, Kansas, Stoll is about 25 miles southeast of Topeka, excuse me, via US 40. If you use Google Maps, just check for the red brick building and you'll find it. Let's try it again. Find the red brick building that will be on your right. The cemetery is across the street and will be on your left.
Which makes sense. If the one's on your right, the other will be on your left.
Yeah, apparently that may be the red brick building.
Yeah, yeah, it says Stoll on it, so
Yeah, and
I
with
would
a big
assume that's the building you're looking for. Yeah.
yeah, with the big K on top. That's not the Circle K, everybody. Uh, what happened at the Stoll Cemetery? Here we go. There's a few different versions of the Stoll urban legend, and no one is quite sure of what actually happened. However, the local legend is that Stoll Cemetery held one of the seven gates of hell, and that the devil used this portal on Halloween night. But what's the real story behind this tiny haunted town? um, uh, The website Prairie Ghost details the story is more in more depth, including an overview of the town's history. They claim that not only get it right, Jones, uh, Stoll is a gateway to hell, but also that the devil holds court there personally twice a year. They also detail rumors that the devil has appeared there since the 1850s and claims the original town name was Skull. The name Stull is being something of a cover up.
Chris said he sent a really good article about it. I don't know if he means he sent it to you or me, or if he sent it in DMs. Because I'm not seeing anything in DMs.
They didn't send it to me. I don't know who you sent it to, but you ain't sent it to me. But that's okay.
He may have sent it. He may have sent it to the devil on accident. Because I don't have anything either in text or DMs.
Shronmore, what's up, guy? Good to see you, man. Yeah, I'm a horrible reader, ladies and gentlemen. So please bear with me. Yeah, my eyesight sucks, and I don't read all that well. I'm a high school dropout and a dopehead. What do you want?
Don't the two kind of cancel each other out?
Not really. Oh, he said in the chat. How'd you send us a link in the chat? You non-rent holding.
That's why we don't see it, is because he doesn't have a wrench, I don't think.
Now he can send a link, but shouldn't you be able to approve? No, I don't know if you can in StreamYards or not.
I didn't see it in StreamYards. I don't know if you have the YouTube chat pulled up or not.
Well, no, it won't show up to me. You're the channel owner. I can't approve the link.
Oh, well, let me pull
I won't
up
even see it. Yeah, I won't even see it.
Let me pull up the YouTube chat real quick. Because apparently it doesn't show up in StreamYards because oh, that's
we're just starting, guys. So give us a second. Chris is like, give me a wrench. I don't have that power, Chris. I'm sorry.
And I'm on the wrong account. I need to switch accounts. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Oh, that's cool. YouTube just emailed me and said I'm streaming live on my channel.
Well, it's good to I'm glad they let you know that. You know.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know that, YouTube.
I wasn't aware of that. I thought me and Han were just sitting here talking.
I didn't know we were live. Shit. That would be funny though if you that would be funny if you didn't know you were live. And all of a sudden YouTube emails you like, "Hey, you're live on your channel." You're like, "Oh shit."
Wookie, from my understanding, a couple things. First, Tommy's internet crapped out on him, and then from my understanding, I believe he got really ill. So ain't nobody seen hide or hair of him.
Yeah, I didn't know he got ill. Last I heard was his internet had crapped out. He was in negotiations with whatever shitty cable internet service he had.
Well, he was supposed to. Mary mentioned that he had a new router on the way, whether he got it or not. But then again, from my understanding, he got ill, got really bad sick. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this nasty other than the virus going around, there's also a bad flu virus going around. Yeah, we can't say that because YouTube's cracking down on it.
Chris, I gave you a wrench because even with me going in and looking as the channel owner, I don't see anything about you posting the link. So you have a wrench now if you want to post the link.
Yeah, he said he'll be back. He's got a ton going on, and he's sick. All right, let's see what this link says. For everybody who wants to play along,
Yeah, or anybody just joining us, we're doing urban legends of the 50 states, and we've already done a handful of them: Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, New Jersey, Idaho. We didn't really do Idaho because apparently Idaho doesn't exist, really.
Yeah.
According to the end of that article. But you want to pull up, because I can't pull links up from StreamYards. Do you want to pull that link up that Chris dropped in the chat? He's dropped a couple now.
Yeah. Yeah, let me do this.
Or I can pull the YouTube chat up if you don't want to mess with it.
Well, I read the last one. Do you really want to hear me stutter through this one?
Let me
Come on, hon. You got to do something, man. Come on.
I wish it'd let you pull links out of StreamYards. But when you go to the
wait a minute. In the StreamYard chat, does it show him posting something like that?
Yeah, now that he has a wrench, it does.
Okay, all right, and you just copy and paste it.
You can't, because if you click on it, it just shows up here.
Oh.
It doesn't let you.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So I have to pop out the. Give me just a second. I'll pop out the actual YouTube chat. Yeah, that's another kind of goofy thing about StreamYard is you can't like copy and paste stuff because it just shows the person's comment on the screen.
All right, Chris. Which one you want, the first one or the second one? I pulled up the first one.
Pop out chat. Bam.
And I don't know who you calling a hoe.
I'm not the hoe, you the hoe. Okay. I'm a little confused now.
He said, "Pull up. Look at the first one."
Okay.
It's called The Lineup.
The ghost of Sour Castle.
You.
Perched atop a hill overlooking the Kansas River on a winding street in an affluent residential neighborhood, Sour Castle of Kansas City still looks like something ripped from a Gothic ghost story. Built between 1869 and 1871, the 2.5-story house with its soaring tower and windows and Widow's Walk is said to be the finest example of 19th century Italianate. I've never heard of it called that before. Italian architecture in the state of Kansas. It's also said to be extremely haunted. The castle's original occupant was Anton Sauer, a German-born businessman who moved to Kansas City from New York after the death of his first wife in 1868, ill with tuberculosis. Sauer nevertheless survived his westward trek, where he met a 28-year-old widow named Mary Eiling Messerschmidt. Boy, Chris, I think, picked this article on purpose. The two married in 1869, adding Mary's 2 daughters to the family of 5 children Anton brought with him from New York.
Chris, are you trolling us?
He's finding stories with hard to pronounce words in them. The couple bore 5 additional daughters. Holy crap. They ended up with like 10 kids altogether. The couple bore 5 additional daughters, one of whom died in infancy in the house itself and was interred on the grounds. When Anton Sauer succumbed to tuberculosis in his bedroom only a month later, he was laid to rest in the Union Hill Cemetery with his infant daughter reburied at his side. Though rumors persist persist that every member of the Sauer family is buried somewhere on the property of the now crumbling estate. In fact, Sauer Castle seems to attract many strange tales and wild stories. Legends tell of a woman who hanged herself in the tall tower, of buried treasure and buried bodies, and a secret tunnel that leads to the river. A deranged husband supposedly murdered his entire family in Sauer Castle and buried them in the backyard before killing himself. Why would you bury them all if you're just going to kill yourself anyway? I mean,
well, this is back then, you know.
I mean, just asking.
That was way back when, you know. Common sense was in its infancy.
Neighbors claim to see floating lights in the tower and on the grounds, and to hear voices from within the house when no one is living there. The Widow's Walk is said to be haunted by the apparition of a woman who paces it in black, while on Halloween a man and woman can be seen dancing in the tower. That could just be drunk people or high people. While the facts of the castle's history may be less salacious and spooky, there's plenty of dark history behind the house to please ghost hunters and historians alike. 5 generations of the Sauer family lived and died in the house, including a single suicide. Pan down. Over the years, several ghost hunters, psychics, and paranormal researchers have turned their attentions to the castle. In the 1980s, several investigations concluded that the haunting was localized in the attic, while Maurice Schwalm, a historian of supernatural happenings and the author of the 1999 book Mocan Ghost, the Case Book of Kansas City Psychic Investigator. Okay. That's an odd title.
All right.
Reportedly took photographs during his investigation that showed evidence of spirits. Not all investigators are convinced of Sauer Castle's paranormal nature. After conducting a significant examination of the house and its owners, Becky Ray of Paranormal Activity Investigators seems substantially less convinced of Sauer Castle's spectral inhabitants, referring to it as a beautiful empty house that seems to beg for ghost stories to be attached to it. The current owner, Carl Lopp, a descendant, finally a name easy to pronounce, a descendant of Anton Sauer, who bought the house in 1988 with the intention of restoring it, is even clearer, stating in a post to a closed Facebook group that there are no ghosts and no evil spirits inhabiting the castle or the property. Nevertheless, ghost stories about Sauer Castle persist. Standing in the shadow of the ominous home, it's easy to see why. So long as it sits empty and strange atop the hill in Kansas City, such tales will continue to gather in its vacant rooms like cobwebs. Today, a massive chain-link fence surrounds Sauer Castle in a futile attempt to keep out vandals, sightseers, and would-be ghost hunters. Private property and beware of dog signs flap in the breeze. In spite of being listed on the National Registry of Historic Places, Sauer Castle continues to deteriorate year after year. Neighbors these days seem less concerned with phantoms than they are with the fate of the house itself, which may one day transform from an out-of-the-way Kansas City landmark to just another lost piece of the city's storied history.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen, black and white. Chris, your story's bullshit. It don't exist, man. Come on.
Hey, right, Kitty. Sorry, I was reading the story. I didn't see you show up. Hey, right, Kitty.
Yeah. Hey, right. Good to see you.
I'll screen share for a bit, and so everybody can see a picture of the aforementioned Sauer. I may not be even pronouncing that right, but that's how I pronounce it. Sayer. I don't know how you pronounce that. So yeah, there's a picture of Sayer, however you pronounce it, castle in Kansas City.
Yeah, it is a pretty looking place. You know, good and historic. But I'll be damned if I'm gonna go inside trying to find shit.
Well, I mean, like, if you just walked up and saw that place and it's empty and kind of freaky, it would automatically freak you out.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, you know, no matter how old or run down the place may be, but just look at the architecture.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful architecture. Okay, so it's Sauer. So Chris said, yes, it does. I know for a fact. So apparently Chris has been there.
Well, I'm not saying the place don't exist. I'm talking about the stuff that's supposedly inside it. Because
I
you had
think
somebody.
I think he's saying he knows that it's haunted.
Well, we all know that Chris just really ain't right anyway.
But it's pronounced Sour Castle.
Love you, Chris.
No, you don't. You ever since I got done reading the article, you've been throwing shade on Chris. So basically, the article said Chris is full of shit. And his article's bullshit.
Well, he's at work. He ain't supposed to be watching anyway. Damn it.
That's one of those things that this the city or the state really needs to buy it and fix it up and make it like a historical site and give tours or something because
Yeah.
it is a beautiful old building.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
hate to see stuff like that just dilapidate and collapse.
He said, read the other one.
Okay.
That means we got to scroll back up.
Oh, let's see. I got the YouTube chat popped out. Make sure I hit control so I don't leave the StreamYard in my own stream because that would be a sucker move. Not that I haven't done that before.
It's okay. It's okay. We all make mistakes. Trust me.
Okay, this is the one that he said's a better article on Stoll Cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Stoll Cemetery, gate to hell in Kansas? Question mark. This burned out church and quiet cemetery at Stoll, Kansas are reputedly the site of one of the 7 portals to hell.
Okay.
That doesn't really say much other than that. It has pictures. It just says some claims it's an evil place, a frightening and even dangerous place, a place with a hidden stairway to hell, a place where Satan comes to visit the grave of his child. Note, the Stoll Church was pulled down after the West Wall collapsed in March 2002. And other than that, it's just, I mean, there are pictures on there, but other than that, it's just links to other people's articles. So we can, let's see, Chrome tab. Unless I'm missing what he was wanting me to look at.
No clue.
Those are kind of small pictures, aren't they? So apparently that's the old church that's not there anymore because one of the walls collapsed.
Yeah, I've seen a lot. I've seen some buildings like that out on my delivery route on the I'm gonna go ahead and say Midwest Florida. You know, some old architecture like that, but it's far and few between. Just because it's old.
Orville Nation, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Any new people that have joined us? We're kind of reading according to this article, the most popular. I won't say the most popular. It's just urban legends from the 50 states. So anybody that's recently joined us, if you want to throw your state or a state you're interested in up there, and if we haven't read it already, then do I need to run the stream for you? What am I missing, Chris? I pulled that one up, and it was just a little bitty paragraph with pictures. I'm at work. Check. Oh, he's saying, well, you didn't say that. You didn't say check the links that were in the link you sent me. Okay. Let me try this again. So Chris will quit. Chris will quit cussing at his phone.
Well, he's at work, so I can understand if he's a little bit uptight at the moment. You know, it's like, damn it, it's right there.
So let's see. Check out what others say about this mysterious place.
Ireland.
That link doesn't work. Hell hath no fury, but the long-suffering residents of Stull are another story. The devil's played some pretty mean pranks on the town of Stull, Kansas. According to urban legends surrounding the tiny town just west of Lawrence, he's chosen Stull Cemetery as a place to appear every Halloween, or spring solstice, or winter solstice, etc. Though he's never actually been seen, he supposedly made some pretty weird things happen. Buildings mysteriously catching on fire, unexplained noises appearing on tape recorders, werewolves jumping out of the bushes, okay. Electoral votes, okay. Oh, never mind, it's a joke. Electoral votes going mysteriously to the Republicans year after year. Just joking on the last one. So whoever wrote this article is a comedian. But the meanest prank of all has nothing to do with the occult and everything to do with disturbing the peace in an otherwise quiet country nook. There's no devil down there, said one 79-year-old woman who lives nearby and has nearly a dozen relatives buried at the cemetery. Name withheld on request. The only devils we have are the two-legged ones who write stories about it. That's a big fuck you to the guy that's interviewing her. Wow. Hell hath no fury. Though not all of the town's residents feel so burdened by the legends that surround the haunted cemetery and the ensuing throngs of curiosity seekers, there is certainly an argument to be made for leaving Stull or any reputedly haunted cemetery alone. It's just a big old hoax that somebody started and we want it stopped, said the otherwise friendly cemetery goer who has had the graves of her relatives vandalized repeatedly. Go bowling or something. Leave our cemetery alone. Apparently the people of the town are not happy that people are flocking to the cemetery to try to see the devil. For the people that have endured the Stull saga firsthand, the only thing frightening about the legend is the fact that their 1867 limestone church has been reduced to a pile of rubble, and their cemetery is now on 24-hour lockdown, requiring constant patrolling from the county sheriff. Their bitter sentiments stem from stolen gravestones, vandalism, and obnoxious thrill seekers who use the mess as an excuse to grab a 12-pack and party Stull style. That first year, I tell you, it was terrible. 500 people standing on graves hoping that the devil would come up, said the woman, who has been known to keep patrolling cops company and even chase out trespassers herself. One man wrote and said, "A relative of mine was a werewolf, and that really made me mad."
Chris, what have you got us looking at, man?
That was just funny how the article is talking about this old woman like chasing people out of the cemetery. Oh, never mind. Okay, I get reading comprehension, Han. She's saying, I guess, that one man wrote and said a relative of mine was a werewolf, and that really made me mad. I guess that was her saying that. I was like, how did that randomly get thrown into that paragraph? On March 29th, Good Friday, 2002, the old brick church came tumbling down. Thus was the portal to hell closed. John Chase was the property owner who sent his friend up the hill that day with a rubber-tired high loader, hell-bent on putting the rumors to rest. According to Haas, a second wall had recently fell down on the old brick church, making the dilapidated brick building a potential hazard for anyone who dared mess with it. The sense was that if kids showed up there was a real likelihood that one of the walls might go, Haas said. All he did was just give it a nudge, and the whole thing came down. The demolition probably killed any hope of restoring the historic building, an effort which had been sauntering for years without financial backing or full community support. Let's see. Then it just kind of goes on to say that rumors are the devil's playground.
Welcome back, Anthony.
Hey, Anthony. Yeah, that was that. Apparently, the people that live in that town have a very good sense of humor.
It sounds like it.
Oh, Chris posted another.
Yeah, I was looking at that. It's a list of damn it, 9 creepiest Kansas urban legends.
We can't talk about Kansas and Missouri the whole show, Chris. I'm sorry. I know you're partial to Kansas and Missouri. Let's see what Stromore put. There was a legend from Cork City, Ireland, 3 days before the apocalypse. The golden angels on Anglican Cathedral will blow their trumpets to warn the people to repent. Let's see a second. My buddies and I were in college. When my buddies and I were in college, planned to hide inside the bushes and blow my grandfather's hunting horn. At the time, the pubs were closing. Never did, but that would have been, yeah, that's not an urban legend. That would have been a hilarious prank. Everybody drunk coming out of the pub and they hear the horn start blowing. They're like, oh, I better repent. I'm sorry I went home with that fat girl last night.
Oh, no.
Please, Jesus.
No. No. I've done that a many a night. No. Chris says, but I get first dibs. I'm at work.
Is there any other states other than Missouri that people want us to read urban legends about? Or Kansas?
Come on. Throw your hat into the ring. Orville, Riot, Maine. Riot Kitty threw up in Maine. Let's see what this has to say. If there's anything for Maine, because it's such a little state.
I think they have something for every state on that article. Pretty sure.
I'm looking. Maine, Wood Island Light. Let's do this. Need to do this. Need to make people feel important. All right. Why it's creepy. Instead of providing useful light to help ships navigate, the lighthouse on Wood Island reportedly provides a space for strange moans. Really? Unexplained shadows and other indicators of paranormal activity, commonly attributed to the murder/suicide that took place there decades ago. Howard Hobbs, a local fisherman and drifter, really did murder his landlord, Fred Milliken, on the Wood Island in 1896. Hobbs had been drinking, and after shooting, Milliken left the scene and turned his rifle on himself. You can read about the events of the day in their 19th century newspaper, Glory Here. From ghost experts who weigh in on such things. Hobbes generally considered the likeliest candidate candidate. Yeah, thank you. To still be haunting the lighthouse.
Nothing like a good lighthouse haunting.
Yeah.
So let's see, Ramblin' Canuck. I don't know if DC itself is on there. I mean, I know it's technically not a state, the District of Columbia. I don't know if it's on there or not.
But yeah, I really agree, Canuck. You know, come on, urban legends. There's got to be a plethora of them in DC.
I guess they don't count it because it's not a state. I think.
Wait a minute. Let me look at something real quick. Oh.
So I'll skip South Dakota.
Wait a minute. Go on that same site, Han.
Mm-hmm.
And look up at the far right side of the list. It says cities. Washington D.C.'s there.
Yeah, but I don't think that's for the article. I think that's for the website.
Well, I'm gonna open it up and take a look just to be on the safe side.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing. Jeffrey Nelson said that's better than a haunted lighthouse. I mean, a haunted outhouse. That would be awful.
Well, yeah, that's true. Okay, never mind. We got a list of the best restaurants in DC, I guess. So.
Yeah, I don't think that has anything to really do with the article we're looking at.
Hey man, I tried. What you want, man?
Apparently Curtis has Bigfoot tatted on his feet.
Or do you just have the words Bigfoot tatted on your feet?
So let's look at Anthony said South Dakota, so let me look at South Dakota. Scroll.
Oh yeah, Chris threw up a good one. Also, when we get done with that one, it's Nevada.
Oh yeah, let's see. South Dakota. It's Walking Sam. Why it's creepy. A wave of suicides. 103 attempts as of December 2014 on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota is being attributed to the presence of the Walking Sam figure. Teenagers claim a slender, shadow-like spirit dubbed Walking Sam appears before them and commands them to kill themselves. To me, that sounds like the Slender Man. The first wave occurred in 2013 when 5 members of the Ogallala Sioux tribe killed themselves and continued to spiral until the Ogallala Sioux tribe vice president Thomas Poorbear, that's a bad Indian name, Thomas Poorbear, discovered photos on Facebook in 2015 depicting nooses hanging from trees, revealing plans behind a teenage group suicide. Where did the legend come from? The specter archetype that Walking Sam is based on has roots starting with the good old-fashioned boogeyman and working all the way down to the Slender Man told me to do it, folklore of 2008. The ideal of shadow people. It's also a pretty old-school urban legend going back further than history can care to track. However, the character of Walking Sam himself has existed among the Lakota and Dakota Native American tribes for some time now, with a record of him being described in Peter Mathiassen's In the Spirit of Crazy Horse back in 1980. Sometimes known as Stovepipe Hat Bigfoot, or I'm not even going to try to pronounce the second one. Takuhi. I just said I wouldn't try to pronounce it, and I just did. Or Takuhi. The character's been spotted by South Dakota Sioux and Little Eagle tribes as far back as 1974. So let me. They have a depiction, I guess, of like an artist rendition of what we're talking about here. So apparently that is a depiction of Walking Sam, who has, like it already said in that little part of the article, is it sounds very similar to the whole Slender Man thing.
Well, it also looks like the outline from the dude from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
So what was the next one? I had to.
Chris said Nevada, but that's a given, man. That's Area 51. That's exactly what's there. It's Area 51.
Oh, is that the one that's what they have on the list? Is Area 51?
Mm-hmm. That's not an urban legend. That's an urban myth. Because until it's been proven, it's a myth, not a legend.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of the same thing with the Roswell crash. I mean,
yeah,
you can't really necessarily say that's an urban legend. I know they put it as an urban legend, and I'm sure there's other Nevada urban legends. We're just going off this article that gives one for like every state.
Oh,
okay. Oh, right. Kitty did a part 2.
Yeah, I read that, and that's a pretty good one. I like that.
My favorite ghost story in Bar Harbor, Maine, in the 60s, a house burned down that belonged to an old man who had a black cat with a red bell whose body was never found. Citizens who live in Bar Harbor or near it sometimes see a black cat with a red bell roaming the streets. Reportedly, if you make eye contact with it, you will freeze in place for up to 30 minutes. Oh, that is a cool one. That's not an urban legend. That's urban fact. We've actually seen that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Come on, Canuck. You watched DJ Odyssey's channel. It is no legend. The lawnmower man himself in a pink bunny suit.
All right, Chris, have a rest of a good day at work. I'm definitely going to try to check in on your stream tonight. The weekly Rumble. Chris is having the weekly Rumble tonight on his channel. It's a Comicsgate edition. He's having Alzmat Comics, Mandy Summers, Piper, and I forget who the 4th person is. Let me look.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I apologize, but I forget who the 4th person is.
And if you guys haven't, check out the Real Review 3000, man. Try to get this man up to 1,000 subs by April 12th, 2020. He's giving away 3 Star Wars novels. He got a 7th edition episode 4 before it was called episode 4. It's just called Star Wars on the cover. And then Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, both of them first editions. What you need to do is I'll find it here. You'll go to his Twitter and like and retweet his pinned tweet. Let me get that link for you guys real quick. That's not it.
Yeah, if you like and share his pinned tweet on his Twitter, then you'll be entered in the contest. He gets to 1,000 subs before it's April
12th, 2020, or for us green smokers, 420. Your name will be put on a wheel, and he'll spin the wheel, and then whoever lands on gets the books. Now, mind you, there's already over 100 names on this wheel, so you got about as good a chance as anybody else. But let's get this man monetized, y'all.
Oh, and Chris is totally transparent, so I know he's going to spin the wheel on a video or on a live stream. So it's all on the up and up.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, the weekly rumble is going to be Owlsmack Comics, Peter Gilmore, Mandy Summers from Worth the Wizard, and Piper is who's going to be on the Comics Gate edition of the weekly rumble tonight.
Yeah, I'll probably watch that. That's a good lineup.
So if you have looking to watch something this evening, go check out Chris's weekly rumble. It's a good time. Sith and I have actually been on the weekly rumble. It's a really good time. And
yeah, I had a blast. Me and Han were on there last week, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It's a good watch. Check it out, guys.
And definitely go check out Chris's Twitter and like and share that pinned tweet for your chance to win those Star Wars books. He's slowly, well, I say slowly, he's steadily chugging along to 1,000. So I think it'll get there, and the books are going to get given away, I believe. Because he's definitely got a momentum going. So
Anthony just called you out, Chris.
But Chris may not even be here anymore.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
Unless he's just listening.
Anthony just called him out.
Oh, for have never been on the weekly rumble.
Yeah. Well, if he's working, there's nothing to say he can't be listening. You know.
I mean, it could be, but I think he said his Bluetooth earbuds were charging.
What are you doing, man? Making another drink?
You're topping my ice off.
This ain't becoming a problem, is it?
It's only a problem on Thursdays that I have to drink Bloody Marys so I can talk to people. Because Bloody Mary brunch would be kind of stupid without.
Ooh, Anthony. Ooh, yeah, he's right. And there's a CG edition.
Yeah, apparently you didn't make the cut, Anthony. I don't know what that says, but I would take Chris.
I would be definitely cut about that because Anthony's on everybody's streams. Not saying
he's always been on my my Comics Gate streams.
Yeah. Not to saying you get around Anthony, but you know, hey.
We know Anthony gets around, if you know what I mean.
You know, we were talking last night on Wednesday Night Mayhem about pimps. And when the word came up, you saw it in the group chat on about pimping out somebody, and first person I could think about was Anthony because he's like one of the biggest pimps I know.
Okay.
You know he's swinging.
Anyway, we're talking about. I'm going to randomly pick an urban legend now.
Love you, Anthony. Just fooling with you.
The Goat Man of Maryland.
Ooh.
Why it's creepy. Maryland's infamous Goat Man allegedly does all the things you would expect a deranged half goat, half man to do. Kill teenagers, eat dogs, and scream like a goat. Etc. But the most if that's not even bad enough. But the most terrifying aspect is just how deep the lore goes. The USDA was even forced at one point to publicly deny accidentally creating the beast in their Beltsville Agricultural Research Center. Another tale revolves around a goat farmer who, after realizing a group of rowdy teens had killed his tribe, went totally crazy and turned into a teen-slaying goat monster. Where the lore came from? Well, through the lore. Though the lore had been around for a while, the first recorded media mentions of the Goat Man occurred in 1971. Courtesy of I can't talk today, Seth. Courtesy of writer Karen Holzer of the Prince George's County News. The first was a deep dive into Maryland folklore, followed by an actual news item about a family blaming the brutal decapitation of their puppy on the Goat Man. It was probably really their kid who's now a serial killer, which they may or may not have just heard about via the county news. 1 month later, the Washington Post ran a national feature detailing the legend of the Goat Man. Ultimately, the Goat Man has become one of America's most persistent and well-known urban legends, with claim sightings still occurring with regularity and cheesy fictionalization still creeping out of the old line state. I don't know I've ever actually heard of the Goat Man.
I can't listen to that without giggling, man, because I think where was it? Saturday Night Live, Jim Brewer doing Goat Boy or whatever it was. I can't even listen to that story without thinking about that because he's all the time going, yeah, you talking about a guy, yeah, and just start going off into his own little goat little noises and stuff. It's just freaking hilarious. I can't.
I must have missed that. I hadn't watched Saturday Night Live in a long time.
Well, you can find clips of it on YouTube whenever you got a minute, which you don't have many of them, but still. And besides, what does your reading got to do with me?
Huh?
Because you kind of threw me out there. It's like, I can't read right, sis. I'm like, well, that's not my fault.
No, I was just saying to you.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking it ain't my damn fault because I can't read either.
Yeah, it was your fault. I was just making a statement.
We're doing it live, folks.
I found a good one. I think I've heard of this one.
Which one?
I may have heard it on Pete's channel at some point.
Which one?
Ohio has the melon heads.
Ohio. Oh.
Yeah, the melon heads. Why it's creepy. It sounds like something stale your granny might keep in your candy dish, but it's actually a legend about pale, sickly, genetically altered children with giant heads and razor-sharp teeth that simply love to kill babies, and also you in some variances. So yeah, much worse. Where it came from, riffs on the tale also exist in Michigan and Connecticut. But the Ohioan case is particularly compelling. These melonheads haunt the woods of Kirkland and are apparently the adopted children of an unscrupulous doctor who used the pre-melonheads to test new medical and surgical methods, with not so great results. In some versions of the tale, the kids are more likely to scurry away like chipmunks than bite your face off. In others, they are just ghosts of the kids. One thing is certain, they definitely inspired one very campy, hyper-local horror movie. So apparently there's like a really low-budget local horror movie about the melonheads.
I wouldn't know about it.
Yeah, it's a very local apparently, so.
Local horror movie. Yeah, never heard of it.
Oh, here's one about DJ. Virginia, the Bunny Man Bridge. The legend is fun to repeat at campfires, but the real sightings beyond the legend are some to give you nightmares. In 1970, there were numerous police reports of people who had been threatened by a man holding an axe, wearing a white suit with bunny ears. I wonder where DJ was in 1970. A few individuals reported that the man in the suit actually threw the axe at them for trespassing. To this day, there have been many sightings of dead rabbits appearing in the woods surrounding the Fairfax Bridge, now known as the Bunny Man Bridge, as well as white figure appearing late at night underneath the bridge. Where it came from, the legend says that in 1904, a group of convicts were piled onto a bus to be transported from an asylum in Clifton, Virginia to a nearby prison. En route, one of the buses crashed. The convicts managed to escape, and the police were unable to round all but one of the convicts up. As their search went on, they began to find skinned, half-eaten bunnies in the woods, and hanging from the overpass of the Fairfax Bridge, now known as the Bunny Man Bridge. A year later, on Halloween night, several teens went to hang out under the bridge. Come morning, they were all found dead. It is said that if you hang out under the bridge on Halloween night, you will meet the same fate as the rabbits and the teenagers. And I'll have to share the screen because they have an artist rendition of DJ. With an axe. And I'm sorry, DJ, that you're not here to defend yourself, but it's still funny. There, we have an artist rendition of DJ with an axe.
This is what DJ is going to turn into.
Yeah.
They keep raising money for him to wear these outlandish outfits. So this is what DJ is going to turn into eventually.
And he's already on a farm, so I'm pretty sure he has readily availability of axes. Axes readily available. So he's just one step away from becoming the deranged bunny man. or Unicorn Man or T-Rex Man, whatever he decides to pick.
Yeah.
So do you want to pick one at random?
Yeah. Nah, I'm figured. I'm just going. I'm looking through places that we know people live.
Yeah.
Uh, we're gonna pick on our one of our favorite blondes, Oklahoma.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oklahoma.
Yeah, the Skirvin Hotel. Because the place is basically Oklahoma's equivalent to the hotel from The Shining, a luxury hotel whose permanent resident include eternally crying babies, a ghost that likes to oh wow, a ghost that likes to grope people in the shower,
Not
spirits that's
necessarily a bad thing. Sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted.
really, really.
I mean, you don't expect to get a reach around while you're in the shower. I mean, it depends on how the groping is.
Okay, true. I'll go with that one. True.
I mean, if
Uh,
it would be freaky if it was a ghost and you couldn't see it, but I mean, if you were like randomly rented a hotel room and was in the shower and got like a free handy, that would that wouldn't be the worst thing, would it?
I almost don't want us to finish reading this. Let's just leave it there, folks. How about that?
Everybody, welcome to Bloody Mary Brunch, where we try to read stuff and I drink Bloody Marys, and Sith is not very excited that I drink Bloody Marys, and he and
Oh
Drew.
no! I don't drink all the Bloody Marys you want. I don't care. But I'm just thinking about ghosts groping me, man. It's weird, but then again, it might not be so weird. So that just makes it even more weird.
I mean, I admit it would be creepy at first, and you may jump out the shower like, "What the hell was that?" But then eventually, your brain would kind of process it, and you would probably take a lot of showers while you were staying there.
Probably, yeah. Anyway,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sid.
no. Anyway, um,
Enough about hand jobs.
yeah. And spirits that slam doors. Uh, the ghost of the original owner's mistress, who allegedly died along with his illegitimate child, and who still walks the halls with a stroller. Uh, it's so prevalent that even the toughest of NBA players who stay at the posh hotel when in Oklahoma City, often find themselves seeking alternate accommodations. And that's before the bed bugs start biting.
Oh, so we got a hand job ghost and bed bugs. That's a bad combination.
Yeah. Maybe that's why you got to take the shower. Who knows? Um, the place was built in 1911, and shortly thereafter, original owner Fred. What is up with these people's names and these words? Schrubel, Fred Schrubel. That's how I'm gonna pronounce it. Was shot to death, but not before allegedly impregnating a maid who perished on the 10th floor. It's been downhill from there. Even a renovation in the early 90s didn't scrub the supernatural from the most haunted hotel in Oklahoma. Wow, we just got a freaky one there because everybody's just getting groped and bed bugs and impregnation and. Ew.
Yeah, I mean, it started off on a good point of the whole
Phantom groping.
phantom shower groping, and but the impregnation of bed bugs kind of threw it off at the end.
Yeah. I'm looking for another one. I'm looking for ones in specific, uh, because
We know somebody that lives in Texas.
yeah,
We could
actually,
do
a couple people. I know a couple people live in Texas.
yeah. If you wanted to do Texas, or I can do Texas.
Yeah, go ahead because I'm looking up
Let's see.
the next one.
Oh, the one from Tennessee. I've heard that one before. Texas, the black-eyed children.
The what children?
Black,
Black-eyed?
yeah, black-eyed children.
Ugh.
Well, that's creepy. Scary movies constantly have people fearing old country back roads, abandoned homes, and kids popping out of cornfields. But the black-eyed children are known to have been seen wandering around totally normal, non-threatening locales like Walmart parking lots and Sonic drive-ins. And worse, they're rumored to put their victims in a tight situation by starting out by asking for something totally unsuspecting like a ride home or some petty cash. Where it came from, the first documented case of the black-eyed children came in 1996 from reporter Brian Bethel, who had pulled his car into the parking lot of an Abilene movie theater to use the bright marquee light to write a check. While writing out the check, two young kids, who Bethel claims were between 9 and 12, approached the car, knocked on the window, and asked for a ride home to grab cash to come back for a movie. The children, who totally unnerved Bethel, claimed they didn't have a gun, which is kind of weird to say, before making eye contact and revealing coal black eyes that Bethel later described as the sort of eyes one sees these days on aliens or bargain basement vampires on late night television. So I have heard some of the black-eyed kids or black-eyed children, and that's always the theme of it is I've even heard stories of them like showing up at people's houses, and they're kind of like vampires in the sense they can't just enter, even if you open the door, they can't just enter. They want you to let them in.
Right, you have to invite them in.
Yeah, and if you don't invite them in or let them come in or get in the car or whatever, they get very upset. And there's also been cases of people supposedly that have let them in that then they die or whatever. But yeah, the whole point to that legend is if weird ass kids knock on your car or knock on your house and they have black eyes and they're begging to come in, don't let random kids in.
I'm sitting here looking at, you're going to like this one, Iowa.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of Iowa.
Iowa, yeah. Vasilla Axe Murder House. That says a lot. First off, they ask why it's creepy. What part of Axe Murder House don't you understand?
Good point.
Yeah. So the murders themselves are very much not an urban legend. They happened and they remain unsolved. Sometimes between the evening of June 9th, 1912, and the morning that followed, 6 members of the Moore family and 2 house guests were brutally murdered, with each victim having suffered an axe wound to the head. One suspect was tried twice and never convicted. Surprisingly, no one. Excuse me. Surprising, yeah, that word. No one. This don't what? Surprising, no one. The somehow still standing house is the subject of numerous rumors, legends, and reports of paranormal activity. You can find out for yourselves, but you can actually stay there, just like the ghost hunter who mysteriously stabbed himself in the chest there in 2014. That explains a lot.
Hail Thomas Gilkey, or I'm sorry, the Gilk Man.
What's the Gilk Man.
What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Oh, Thomas. I think Thomas is from Massachusetts. I don't think we've done Massachusetts yet, have we?
Is that right, Thomas? You live in Massachusetts? We're doing urban legends of the 50 states. Yep, Massachusetts. So let's take a look. Yeah. The Curse of Giles Corey. Or Giles or Giles, however you want to pronounce it, Corey. The Salem witch trials were creepy enough to begin with. Go read the Crucible again if you don't believe it. But the story of I'm pronouncing it Giles, or no, excuse me, Giles. But the story of Giles Corey, who was slowly pressed to death under a series of progressively heavier rocks in the efforts to extract a confession, is particularly unsettling. Legend has it, he uttered a curse against Salem right before his dying breath. You could understand why he'd have some ill will.
Yeah.
For generations, yeah, of course, I would. For generations, his apparitions have allegedly appeared in the cemetery before something terrible is about to happen, including a 1914 fire that burned down a sizable proportion of the city. There has also been a series of tragedies that have hit the Salem Sheriff's Office, starting with the 1696 heart attack that killed George Corwin 4 years after he presided over the trials.
Yeah, I would tend to say, no matter if it's an urban legend or not, if you crush a guy to death with gradually heavier stones right before he dies, he's not going to be like, no harm, no foul, guys. It's cool.
Yeah.
I totally get it, man. You really wanted me to talk. I'm sorry I didn't talk earlier. We could have saved a lot of time and stones.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
I'm pretty sure at the end you're going to be like, curse everybody, curse you, curse the town.
It's yeah. My last dying wish is, hey, y'all have a drink on me.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I know it was all just misunderstanding, guys. That's cool. Here sounds like another Bigfoot type thing. Minnesota, the hairy man of Fergus Trail. What's not to be creeped out about? An 8-foot musty smelling barefoot man with a reputation for being unnaturally aggressive is a hell of a thing to consider encountering in the woods. Some reported sightings were just that, sightings. However, reports like Ken Zitzow's. Why does every one of these stories have to have a name that's hard to pronounce? Ken Zitzow's made the hairy man more than an apparition, but something to fear. Zitzow returned from driving in the woods with dents all over his car hood and said the hairy man jumped onto the road and began pounding the hood. Where the legend came from, nobody really knows. Sightings traced back to the 60s, had a significant increase in the 70s, and still happen from time to time. Some say it's a legend. Some say there was an old hermit living in the woods who wasn't too keen on your rascally kids wandering his land. Others say the hairy man is real and point to a mysterious skull discovered in the Vargas Trail area that is human-like but not hominid. It was discovered by a private citizen who didn't turn it over, so no one knows if it's human, Bigfoot, animal, or hoax. It sounds somewhat similar to a Bigfoot type thing. Maybe more man looking than Bigfoot.
Right. It just, every time you hear about a big hairy man, that's the first thing that always pops into everybody's brain is, oh, Bigfoot.
Well, and he's 8 foot tall and smells musty. That, like the skunk ape we talked about in Florida, is 8 foot tall and smells horrible. It seems like Bigfoot type creatures come with some kind of pungent odor as well. So maybe they need Bigfoot deodorant or something. I don't
know. Bigfoot deodorant. For
Uh,
when your feet are just too big.
yeah.
All right. We know quite a few of them here. How about California?
Oh yeah, I didn't think about California.
The many horrors of Turnbull Canyon. Turnbull. 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 Turnbull.
Yeah, I would say Turnbull. Yeah, is how I would say it.
Okay, we're Southern. Forgive us.
I think it's one of those words. It looks like Turnbull, but I think it would probably all run together when you say it like Turnbull.
Yeah.
Is how I would pronounce it. But
located near LA between Whittier and City of Industry. Turnbull is a 49,000 acre smorgasbord of nightmare fuel set amid the scenic hills. You want your scares rooted in American history. The natives called it, excuse me. What? Who
Hutakigna? I don't know how you pronounce that. Hutakigna?
Hutakigna? That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Or the place of the devil, where ghosts of the slain for not converting to Christianity dwell alongside witches and Satanists, who reportedly used the place to sacrifice children whose spirits now walk the canyon and dangle from trees. Ooh.
Yeah, that would be kind of creepy. I mean, if them walking the canyon would be creepy enough, but then they're also dangling from trees.
Yeah. This
Get the
starting to sound
get the fuck out with that.
Yeah, you're in California. It's starting to sound like Lost Boys. They're joined by ghosts of 21 kids who perished in a plane crash back in 52. Allegedly, and there's no existing record of it. Then there's the remains of the old insane asylum that came back to life to kill the teen in the 60s via long dormant electrical wire. Oh, wow. There are cults, alien encounters, gravity hills. It goes on and on. Basically, if it's something that gets under your skin, there's a story about it happening in the seemingly cursed canyon. The place's evil vibes date back centuries, though. It wasn't until the site was established as a fur trapping site in 1845 that things started getting really intense, with word of the site's terrors traveling far and wide and making it a place visited much for its beauty as morbid curiosity. California fucked up. That's some craziness right there. I'd much rather go see my Florida Bigfoot. Or try and find that. That's just crazy. But it really started to sound like the Lost Boys. I don't know why. Where the hell is my cord?
Sorry, I was answering a text from my wife. Let's see. I know. I just thought of another state. Somebody we talked to the other day. That's from Washington State. We haven't done Washington State yet. You still with me, Seth?
Yeah, sorry about that. I had to plug my headset in.
Oh, okay. I just making sure you didn't like drop out.
No. I finished reading. I'm thinking, okay, that's awfully silent. But then my headset screaming at me, battery low. So I didn't know if you could still hear me or not. So I had to plug it in. So it's all good.
I think Trace is from Washington, right? Isn't that what we were talking about the other day?
I think he's from Washington State. Yeah.
The 13 Steps to Hell.
Ooh.
First of all, if you have to walk up steps, that's kind of hell anyway. Why can't it be like the escalator or the elevator to hell? That would be much more.
Well,
nice.
Wait a minute. If you're going to hell, it's going down, so it's not as bad.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, good point. Basically, the opposite of the Zeppelin song, the Malthby Cemetery itself, the subject of rumors associating it with Satanism, is rumored to include a subterranean tomb for a really creepy rich family that could be accessed by 13 steps that led to their final resting place, or the final resting place of every damned soul in history. God, as legend has it, that descended the entire staircase led you to a glimpse of hell itself. Where the legend came from, the cemetery has been around since 1901, though the crypt itself's date has been lost to time, as have the stairs themselves, which have been bulldozed and covered in concrete. This hasn't stopped curious paranormal masochists, okay, that's a new one on me, a paranormal masochist, from trespassing on the secluded private property, allegedly showing up at the cemetery at night, eager to unearth via nocturnal evacuate. Let me start over. Allegedly showing up at the cemetery at night, eager to unearth it via nocturnal excavating missions, and being greeted by the cemetery's other apparitions. So, apparently, you can no longer take the 13 steps to hell. Maybe they will eventually replace it with an elevator to hell. Or something more handicap friendly.
Well, come on, 13 steps. That's why it's called the 12-step program. Yeah.
The 12-step program or the 13 steps to hell. You take a pick.
Yeah. A lot of people prefer the 12 steps because going to hell just ain't preferable.
Here's one that most people have heard of, kind of like the Jersey, which I'm surprised they didn't come up with a different one. I think the reason that Jersey came up with one other than the Jersey Devil is because everybody's heard of the Jersey Devil, and the Watcher is kind of a more modern urban legend that is more modern and active even till today, although people would say they still see the Jersey Devil till this day, but you know what I'm saying. So West Virginia obviously doesn't have a newer one because they've put one that I'm pretty sure everybody that's heard anything about urban legends has seen before. The Mothman. I'm sure everybody's heard of the Mothman, or most people have.
Well, never mind. Wrong thing. Woohoo.
Oh, what are you thinking?
Mothra. I'm thinking Godzilla.
I mean, it's worse than that.
Yeah, okay.
West Virginia has the Mothman. The Mothman was introduced to West Virginia in 1966 with the best newspaper headline ever. Couple sees man-sized bird, creature, something. That was the headline. It's couple sees man-sized ... creature ... something. From there, awesome. Residents all over West Virginia reported seeing the winged, human-like, red-eyed creature around the state, unsure if it was a demon, alien, or genetic experiment gone wrong. Even as recently as 2016, Mothman sightings have made the news. Yes, like the actual news. The myth dates back to the initial newspaper piece, but the legend has been long propagated in pop culture, inspiring a horror novel, and the subject... God, I can't talk today. Let me start over. Back it up. Inspiring a horror novel and the subsequent Richard Gere film adaptation. In Point Pleasant, where the original incident was recorded, There's a Mothman museum, a Mothman festival, and a sizable statue. I've seen the statue before on the internet. The Mothman has become big business, and if nothing else, he clearly paved the way for tabloid darling the Bat Child. Okay, it's never heard the Bat Child, but
The
we
Bat
can pull
Child.
up. Yeah, we can pull up. Man statue. There's
No, 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 Bat Child. Oh,
images.
I can't help it. Sorry.
Trying to find a good image of the.
Ooh, the bottom just dropped.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds bad.
Rain.
Oh yeah, it's been raining here all day.
Yeah, the bottom just fell out here.
I don't know if people will be able to see this very. I can't find a good big picture of it.
I did. You know these things that are underlined? They're called links. Sorry, I'm being an ass.
Oh, in the story.
Yeah. Here you go.
Oh, it has some weird dude standing next to it.
Yeah, but
so that's the statue that the town has put up to Mothman. I've heard there's a podcast I listen to a lot called Astonishing Legends. I don't know anybody that's into like ghost, paranormal, alien, mystery kind of stuff. And you like podcasts. That's a very interesting podcast, Astonishing Legends. You can find it on, not like I'm doing a commercial for them. You can find it on, Google, Apple, wherever you find podcasts. It should be on all of them. But they've done a several part series on the Mothman. And the other legend is, there was a bridge that collapsed in Point Pleasant that was a disaster. The bridge collapsed, and supposedly the Mothman showed up. Basically, a lot of people think the Mothman was trying to warn them that there was going to be a disaster or something bad happened.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mothman was seen like on the bridge, like not long before it collapsed or something similar. I'm paraphrasing, but it's something similar to that. But yeah, he's still been sighted often, or I shouldn't. They call it the Mothman, but we shouldn't assume it's gender nowadays, I guess. But the moth person.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know if it had a moth dong when it was flying through the air or not, so we could call it the moth person.
A moth dong.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a moth,
we're done with urban legends today. We're talking about moth.
Well, we already talked about the hand job ghost showers at that one hotel, so
that was my fault. That was
how about you pick another state, Seth, and get us away from talking about moth dongs?
Well, I'm sitting here looking at Wyoming, the Platte River Ship of Death. That's a good idea though. You had great, I guess that's why you're running the stream. There are endless creepy tales in the wilds of Wyoming. Among them, a headless woman who haunts the lodge of Old Faithful. But the creepiest is also the most overlooked. A ghost ship that materialized out of spectral fog on the Platte River. The cursed crew huddles on the deck, and the cursed crew cuddles. Yes, they cuddles. Okay, they're hugging up to one another.
Does it say cuddle or huddle?
No, the cursed crew huddles.
Oh, okay. I was about to say that's a weird specific thing in the thing. They're all cuddled together. Sorry, go ahead.
I see huddles, but I kept wanting to say cuddles, and I don't know why. The cursed crew huddles on the deck of the old sailboat, surround a body. What? Surround a body? Okay, whatever. If the onlooker persists in looking, the corpse is revealed to be that of a still living loved one, who will then die soon afterward. The ship was first reportedly spotted in 1892 by a trapper named Leon Weber. Oh, that was easy. Whose girlfriend
I
died.
think no, I think that's the first easy name of all the stories we've read today.
I agree. I agree.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. Leon Weber, whose girlfriend died shortly after he envisioned her on the cursed deck. Legend has it that the last documented sighting claimed the life of the lumberjack's friend back in 1903. There have been no official sightings since, though though you though you could forgive people for getting the hell away from the river as soon as the fog rolls in. I would. Like, it's getting foggy. Yeah, I'm
Especially
going.
if, especially if you didn't want to cuddle with a bunch of dudes on a ship.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
Generation Productions, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man.
What's up, generation? Thanks for joining.
And I highlighted Anthony's. We were talking about the Mothman, and he's like, yeah, the Mothman is seen as a harbinger rather than a threat. So yeah, the vast majority of people think that the Mothman wasn't there to harm anybody. It was actually there as a warning that something bad was going to happen, rather than the Mothman attacks people
Right, right,
or
right.
gives them mysterious hand jobs in a shower at a hotel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or likes to cuddle on the
Oh.
deck of a ghost ship. We're doing it live, folks. Generation Productions. Question: what state you live in? Hopefully, it's one we not covered.
I believe he's in Australia or England.
Ah,
I want to say Australia.
that's right. That's right. Because it was him and David Morris at one point in time that was sending cool stuff from Australia.
Yeah, I want to say he's in Australia. So if we'll wait till he chimes in.
I know, I know.
I'm pretty sure it's Australia. He's gonna be like, "Fuck you guys! I live in New York." Yeah, if you look into it a little bit, Curtis, there was the Point Pleasant Bridge also collapsed around the time that the people originally started seeing Mothman, and it was like a big disaster. And a lot of people think that Mothman was more of a warning, or is more of a warning that if Mothman shows up, it means something bad is going to happen, almost like a warning. Hey, there's something bad going to happen. Okay, he's in South Australia.
Yeah.
Do you know? Do you know of any urban legends, generation productions for Australia in general or South Australia? We can look them up. We're doing urban legends of the 50 states, but we can look up. If you can tell us some to look up for Australia, we'd be more than happy to look them up.
Yep. He's in the future, y'all. It's already Friday morning there.
Yeah, I'm supposed to already be at work right now. I'm in trouble because I should have been at work since 6:30.
Well, in all actuality, it wouldn't be the first time you laid out of work on Friday.
Yeah, true, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, let's see what we got here. Something
If you want to pick another random state, I'm gonna see if I can find an article on Australian urban legends.
Here's something we don't. Well, that's a long one. I don't feel like reading all that.
Here's a very interesting. Oh fuck it, it's too long.
No, here we go. Utah. And I'm gonna try and do this the best way I can because just the name of it is
We also know somebody from Utah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
So
right.
we were talking about playing Star Wars.
Gotcha. Escalante Petrified Forest Curse. Utah's legend is particularly troubling for tourists, as they might be talking about the horror home with them. Okay, the horror home with them. Okay, even if they can escape the forest, With shocking regularity, visitors who have stolen chunks of the petrified wood from the Escalante Petrified Forest State Park will mail back their lifted souvenirs. Uh, all their letters detailed series. All their letters detail series of unfortunate events, from broken collarbones, arms, ribs, to mysterious illnesses, horrific accidents, and financial ruin. The one thing they have in common, they all occurred after the victim illegally stole a piece of the forest. uh, Many people, and still do, mail back cursed pieces of the petrified wood. And the park even displays the letters and samples openly as an attraction. Apparently, they have been case that excuse me. There have been cases of stolen wood turning to bad luck since the 1930s. Uh, though it's unclear that the actual root of the curse, maybe it's the burden of moral ambiguity and ambiguity
Ambiguity.
ambiguity, yeah, that too, uh, affecting other areas of life. Maybe it's just coincidence. Either way, it's not worth risking your collarbone. Yeah.
That makes me think of Robert the Doll in Key West.
Mm,
Now, if anybody's heard the story of Rose, I mean, I guess it would be more of a haunted item than like a urban legend. But supposedly if you go and take Robert's picture without asking his permission, then bad things happen.
oh wow.
And there's letters. If you go to the museum where he's currently in a museum in a glass case, because when he was first at the museum he wasn't in a case, and they would come back the next morning and open the museum and he would be in different parts of the museum. He would leave his chair. He's on a chair with a little teddy bear. He would leave his chair and walk around the museum at night, apparently. So they finally put him in like a glass case so he can't get out. But there's in one of the rooms you go in, there's letters all over the walls of people sending letters and the pictures they took back to Robert and asking the people in the museum to tell Robert they're sorry because they took a picture of Robert without asking his permission. And, horrible stuff happened. Their house burned down. Their wife got hit by a car. People died. Horrible shit happened. They lost their job.
Right.
Sort of similar to what you were saying in the one you were just talking about.
Right. Drew Tubian, great to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you, Drew Tubian. I looked up the Bunyip. That's if I know you're reading the story, so you didn't see it, but Generation Productions was saying that an urban legend over there is the Bunyip.
Okay.
It's part of traditional Aboriginal belief. So I found an article here on the Bunyip. It's from mythology.net, so I don't know how accurate it'll be, but Australia, the island continent, is famous for its huge swaths of untouched wilderness and for the unique, often deadly animals that wander there. You wouldn't expect that a nation with the likes of the platypus and the killer box jellyfish would need to invent a new creature to add to its allure. Yet reports of a mysterious, massive creature lurking in the waters of Australia abound. This creature, the Bunyip, is as much a part of Australian culture as any of its other fantastic beasts. What is the Bunyip? The Bunyip is an Australian water monster, sometimes described as a ferocious predator and other times as a gentle herbivore. He has been part of Aboriginal tradition for centuries, and he continues to be a favorite character in Australian fiction today. Descriptions of the bunyip vary so widely that many scholars believe he is just a normal catch-all for an assortment of different regional monsters who have been described as everything from a giant starfish to a crocodile with a dog-type head. Feathers, fins, tusks, claws, beards, a duckbill, a horsetail, a single massive eye, and a stomach mouth have all been attributed to this bizarre creature. In fact, the only thing that witnesses can seem to agree on is its size. It's big enough to be a man-eater. The bunyip's territory. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, stomach mouth. I don't know what that would be. Unless they're talking about like a mouth in the stomach. You know what I mean? Like if you had a mouth in your belly.
Yeah. It's just trying to visualize. I'm like, what?
It is kind of weird to think of it. The bunyip's territory is far flung, with sightings of him reportedly all over the Australian continent. He dwells in swamps, lakes, rivers, and even in aquatic environments that routinely drain during the dry season, like water holes and billabongs. Although he is typically considered to be an aquatic creature, he has been sighted lumbering over land as well. Although the word bunyip means devil or evil spirit in the Aboriginal language, native Australians disagree about this creature's disposition. Certainly his monstrous appearance and his booming cries, which echo across the Australian landscape, color him nightmarish. And his legend even comes with a small death toll. He has been accused of killing several Aboriginal people, usually by hugging them to death. Okay. Maybe he's just really into people and it doesn't understand that there's boundaries. You can.
Ain't no different than being groped in the shower by a ghost. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, he just hugged it out a little too long. Still, he is described by others as a benevolent protector of Australia's wildlife rather than a bloodthirsty predator with a taste for human flesh. Whether for good or evil, most native Australians do believe that this water creature has supernatural powers. He may be able to alter the water level in his home environment, or he might use his ferocious roar to cripple unwelcome visitors. One legend describes the monster hypnotizing a woman and keeping her for several weeks as his slave until the spell was broken by a large thunderstorm. Let's see, the origin. The bunyip darkened the folklore of Australia's Aboriginal people for centuries before it made its debut in the written records of European settlers who bought into the legend wholeheartedly. Originally, the monster went by a different name in each indigenous tribe. The Wowie Wowie, the Yalu, the Kian Prati, the Dongu, and more. I'm probably horribly pronounced all those. When Europeans got their hands on these various monsters, they united them under the single most popular name, Bunyip. The earliest documented evidence of the bunyip is a set of huge, mysterious bones found by the famous explorer Hamilton Humes in 1818. Humes didn't name these bones as the bunyip, instead believing they might have come from a manatee or a hippopotamus. However, the scholars who heard about his discovery couldn't help but think of the monster described by Aboriginal people. And the Philosophical Society of Australia offered to pay Humes to return the lake where he had. That doesn't make any sense. I don't think they wrote this part right, because it reads as the Philosophical Society of Australia offered to pay Humes to return the lake where he had found the skeleton and transport it to their headquarters. Humes declined.
Yeah.
I think they left a couple words out of that. I think they meant for him to return to the lake where he had found the skeleton and transport it to their headquarters. Anyway, in 1830, another set of bones were unearthed in Wellington Cave. The anatomist. There we go. Fucking word. What's with the words that? Why do all these legends have to have screwed up names and stuff in them? The anatomist. There we go. The anatomist Sir Richard Owen identified these bones as belonging to a giant extinct marsupial species. At the same time, noting that the surrounding tribes had a tradition about a similar giant creature living in nearby waterways. There's other sightings and other skulls and stuff. We'll kind of skip forward a little bit. Modern connotation. Today, the bunyip is largely regarded as no more than a charming bit of folklore. He is usually portrayed as a gentle giant, and he's even stared. He is even starred. I need to watch Hooked on Phonics again. He is even starred in children's books and television series. Interestingly, the monster's name has also picked up some political connotation. It can be used as a derogatory term to belittle political movements that are made up of imposters or humbug. During the
Wow.
1850s, it was used to mock the bunyip aristocracy, a group of European settlers who aspired to create a new class in Austrian society. In the 1930s, the word was used again as an attack on the Liberal Party of Australia. Explanation of the myth. Even though most Australians today believe that the bunyip is purely mythological, a small pocket of cryptozoologists still cling to the numerous fossils and sightings of Australia's watery monster. The most popular theory names the Diprotodon, a giant marsupial which has been extinct in Australia for over 46,000 years, as the famous water beast. Passionate believers claim that this massive marsupial still lurks in Australia's rugged outback, while more moderate believers claim that the Aborigine people may have a cultural memory of the Diprotodon, a sort of oral tradition which has been handed down from generation to generation, is expected as true by each new generation. Elephant seals and leopard seals have also been proposed as explanations. If these seals somehow found their way inland, they could easily terrify native people with their size and their loud barks. So that's the bunyip, as suggested by our friend Generation Productions. And somebody else was talking about another Australian thing is the Yowie, which is basically to me it looks like it's basically the Australian Bigfoot. Yeah, the Yowie appears to be the Australian version of Bigfoot.
Yeah, Drew pointed out one. You know, he goes, "What about the Camp Crystal Lake murders? Here, there's a dude with a hockey mask that roams the woods."
Oh.
We're talking about actual urban legends, not Friday the 13th, but still. Yeah, Yowie is the Australian Bigfoot. I come up with a I don't know exactly how funny it is, but we got one for Delaware. It's Mr. Chew. Chew. Yes, Mr. Chew. Samuel Chew was a respected man, a chief justice in the state back in the colonial days. Still, even in colonial America, bullies latched on to his name, constantly proclaiming Chew as if sneezing.
Sorry.
Yeah. He apparently hated it so much that his spirit still stalks those who mock him, showing up in his robes and powdered wig to scare the ever-loving crap out of people who can't resist the easy joke at the expense of the centuries dead legislator. Chew was very much a real man, serving serving as Chief Justice of the three lower counties until he died in 1743. Things got so unsettling that people eventually held a funeral for the ghost in Dover's Green, laying his spirit to rest in an ornate grave He seemed to be placated, though he's still known to mess with smartasses who sneeze at the mention of his name. Yeah, that sounds like a good one.
Oh,
I'll never make that joke again. I don't care if I'm there or not.
true. I honestly wonder what would happen if you encountered a Sasquatch and the first thing you did, aside from being terrified, was hand it Jack Link's beef jerky. Drew's Drew's just full of jokes today.
He's on it. He's on it today, man. He must have got some sleep last night.
So I should probably stop making fun of a guy I work with then, because he hates his nickname. So if he comes back, he may haunt everybody.
What is his last name? Chew?
No, it has nothing to do with his name.
Oh, okay.
He looks like he's wearing eyeliner. You know, like how rock stars put eyeliner on their eyes.
Yeah.
It's like a natural. I mean, he don't put eyeliner on, but that's what it looks like. And people at work call him Maybelline. And sometimes when he's around, they go, "Maybe it's Maybelline," and
wow.
he hates it like really bad. So I should probably quit calling him that, because if he dies, he may come back and haunt me.
Yeah, you'll wake up with dark circles around your eyes. Like, damn it, Maybelline, stop.
Which would just make him do it more if you called him Maybelline again, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. You heard about the Jason statue found in a lake? Nobody knows how it got there.
But it's been said that it was a promotional statue. How it got in the lake? No, I haven't heard that one.
In Australia? Or somewhere else?
I think he means in general.
Oh. A Jason statue? I wonder if that's in Camp Crystal.
Let's see. This is an article from 2018.
9.
Creepy underwater statue of Jay. Shut up. Not you. It was playing a video. Creepy underwater statue of Jason Voorhees in Minnesota Lake continues to spook swimmers. As if horror flicks aren't full of enough things that go bump in the night, there's an underwater discovery that will make scary movie fans extra terrified. Jason Voorhees, the hockey mask wearing slasher hell-bent on getting revenge on his tormentors, and pretty much everyone he comes across at Camp Crystal Lake, has just been discovered hanging out at the bottom of a Minnesota lake, kind of. According to the Friday the 13th film lore, the machete-wielding murderer was chained to the bottom of Crystal Lake by former camper Tommy Jarvis at the end of the 6th film. The iconic sequence was remodeled by a particularly enterprising film fan, Curtis Lahr, who built his own life-size statue and placed it in Crosby, Minnesota. A video of Lahr's amazing homage was shared on YouTube in 2014, but as a horror site, Bloody Disgusting reported it's only recently been uncovered and has been making its way across the internet. Jason's statue comes complete with a hockey mask, a machete, and chains. And for fans who won't settle for online videos, professional diving gear is the only way to see it, because it's 120 feet below.
Now, who would spend the time and the money to do that?
No idea.
That's just weird.
But it does look cool. Let me screen share.
Son of a bitch. Not you.
So there's a...
That is just weird. Well, I know that, Drew, but come on, isn't that a little extreme? Talking about fans will do some crazy shit.
Well, and to put it 120 feet deep where you can't see it unless you can scuba dive.
Yeah, because
I
come on.
could see it. I could see putting it in a lake somewhere or a pond or something where you could kind of see it or just dive down and see it. But putting it 120 feet deep, that to me, that kind of defeats the purpose of making it, I don't
That's
know.
what I'm
That's
saying.
just me.
Who would spend the time and money to do that? Because that looks like a perfectly good rendition of Jason.
Well, and it
Okay.
has to be made out of something durable to still be underwater like that.
Exactly. And all you're going to do is stick it 120 feet deep. So what it can do, rot, corrode, rust, whatever it's made out of. I can think of better things to make reefs out of. But if it's in a
Well,
lake, you won't even go deep.
I was gonna say it's in a lake, so it wouldn't even become a reef. Yeah, if he had put it in the ocean, at least it could have at least kind of become a reef.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to freak people out, you would put it somewhere where people could readily see it easier.
Yeah. But besides, I think whoever did it was on some serious reefer.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, it's something, man. That was just really, come on.
That's true, Curtis. It won't be vandalized. Yeah, I would. I'm kind of like Drew. I would put it out to where it was deep enough that people couldn't like generally try to steal it or just fuck with it, but you could like use a snorkel or something and like see it. You know what I mean?
That's just weird, man. I'm sorry. Somebody really must have had money to waste to do that. It must be nice,
I mean, like they were saying, super film fans can be, pretty rabid and crazy on what they do.
Yeah.
Unless you're a scuba vandalizer.
Listen,
I'm taking that Curtis as a band name. I call it Scuba Vandalizer.
I'm a super Star Wars fan. I'll be damned if I'm gonna take a statue of Darth Vader and go put it in a lake. Fuck that. I'm gonna put it out in my front yard. What are you talking about? It's
especially one that you made. I mean, he handmade that statue to be like an exact replica of Jason in the bottom of the lake.
Yeah, like I said, it must be nice to have money to waste. So, all right, chat, chime in. I know we've been over a few states, but quite a few states actually.
We can do other countries. We can do other states. We can do urban legends from pretty much anywhere.
Just got to get
it is. It is in the lore, Drew. I just wouldn't put it so deep. Giggity. I wouldn't put it 120 foot deep where you have to be like a certified diver to see it. I mean, that's cool if you're a diver, but if I went through all the trouble of making something like that, I would put it where at least most people could at least somewhat see it.
Yeah, snorkeling or something like that. Just go stick your head under the water or whatever. Something you can just catch a glimpse out of it. 120 feet deep. That's a little extreme.
We got probably at least another, if Sith's still kicking, we got probably at least another 30 minutes. I have one Bloody Mary left, everybody.
Uh-oh.
One Bloody Mary left, and then the stream's over. So if anybody has any urban legends they want us to look up, or it doesn't even have to be United States. Like Generation was talking about Australia, we looked up the urban legend for Australia. So if anybody has anything to look up, chime in and we'll see what we can find.
Specifically,
but that was cool about the Jason statue. I hadn't heard of that before.
Yeah, he just popped another one up in Australia. There have been accounts of living dinosaurs, specifically in Darling Downs. It's a farming region in southeast Queensland. Farmers reported strange noises, which some cryptozoologists see. I can say that, but I can't say some of this other shit. Tied to the. I had to open my big mouth, didn't I? Ornithopod dinosaur. Okay, now you just trolling, Jen. Seriously.
No, it's true. I've already looked it up.
I'm just, this shit we having a hard time saying. He's just trolling now, just throwing them big words out there.
The Mutaburosaurus is how I would say it.
Oh yeah, we didn't do Alaska. We'll do that one after.
Well, I'm looking up the Mutaburosaurus, but really all I can find is like that they have skeletons of it, and it really was a real dinosaur, but I can't find any articles alluding to the fact that it still lives in Australia. Sorry, generation. I can find the Mutaburosaurus, but I can't find any. I can't find any. Well, let me see if let me change my search.
I'm not reading Alaska. No,
I'll do it in a second.
Yeah, there's too many big words in there.
Yes, yeah. Oh, from the cryptid wiki, living dinosaurs in Australia. In Australia, there have been accounts of living dinosaurs, specifically in the Darling Downs, which is what he was just talking about. In Darling Downs, a farming region in southeast Queensland, farmers have reported strange noises, which some cryptozoologists tie to the Ornithopod dinosaur, the Mutaburosaurus. I'm probably pronouncing all that incredibly, horribly wrong. It lived in what is now northeastern Australia sometime between 112 and 99.6 million years ago. Although a more realistic explanation for these sounds could be that people are hearing other animals native to Australia, such as wallabies, crocodiles, for example. Other dinosaur-like cryptid in Australia includes the Brunch, said to be a living prehistoric being. So, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot other than that people think they're still there. But let me look at Alaska and I'll read Alaska.
It's called the Alaska Triangle.
Angela Straven. Hail, Angela Straven. What's good? What's good, man? Good to see you. Ireland has a bunch. Okay, we may need to look up Ireland too. Let me look at Alaska on the article we've been looking at anyway. Alaska, the Alaska Triangle. Why, it's creepy, encompassing an area ranging from near Juneau in the southeast to the northern Barrow region to the western metropolis of Anchorage. Alaska's answer to the Bermuda Triangle is comprised some of the most these people don't know how to type very well. I'm saying that when I don't know how to pronounce stuff very well, but it's like they're leaving words out. Is comprised, it should say, of some of the most barren wilderness in the U.S., and it apparently craves souls. More than 20,000 people have gone missing without a trace in the area during the past half century alone. Are they being consumed by mythological beings like the beastly Kulut or the ghoulish kidnapper Kualupalik? I guess is how you would say that. Lost on extreme heights or simply vanished into a dark vortex. Nobody knows. Though it's not for a lack of trying. When the government lost House Majority Leader Hale Boggs Cessna to the Triangle in 1972, a massive search turned up tons of conspiracy theories, but no bodies. Where did the legend come from? The area has been associated with evil spirits, and Tlingit lore for centuries attributed trickster demons for luring people to an icy death. Others believe the area exists amid an electromagnetically influenced foul vortex. Still others think it's a Darwinian result of explorers taking on nature. Regardless, the area continues to claim people, and underneath that massive blanket of snow and rock likely lies one of the largest and best preserved mass graves in the world.
Wow.
I've heard somewhat about that before, and I tend to agree. The simplest answer is obviously in Alaska, a lot of people fly in little planes because it's hard to get to certain, especially in the winter, it's hard to get to certain areas, if you don't fly in a plane. So I think a lot of it has to do with small planes going down in areas, there's such vast wilderness in Alaska that nobody lives.
Yeah, there's a
It's
lot of area in Alaska that is hard.
it's a very harsh, area. So I tend to believe it's more either mechanical error, people doing stupid shit, that are causing, and if you don't exactly know the exact route people flew in these little planes, and their plane crashes, then they may just never be found. If they're in like a small bush plane that doesn't necessarily have all the transponders and all that shit, that like modern big aircraft have.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree, Curtis. Cold temps in certain areas, but also in Alaska, you also got to think not just the temperatures, but the winds, the rains, the snows. Alaska is a very difficult place to fly in and or land in.
Yeah.
What else we got going on here?
Anthony says Ireland. So I just did a quick so here, this is an article from this year, from January 11th, 2020. 6 Irish urban legends to share with friends. The Jervis Ghosts. To those who think that the specters of Ireland limit their territories to county roads at dusk, think again. Jervis Street, located in the middle of Dublin city centre, has served as the backdrop for many an encounter with the unknown throughout the years, proving that in actuality, ghosts can make their presence felt just about anywhere. The Jervis Shopping Centre, which opened in 1996, is home to over 70 retailers and is a popular destination for many citygoers. However, not everyone knows that this center is built on the grounds of Jervis Street Hospital, which closed in the 1980s after attending to the needs of the sick and the dying for over 300 years. Many locals claim that suspicious activities in the area can be attributed to the restless spirits of those who died on its wards. In 2008, a newsreader from popular Irish radio station Today FM was walking along the bustling street outside Jervis Shopping Centre, only to be stopped in her tracks by a female voice singing a lullaby nearby. Presuming she was hearing things, the newsreader continued to walk and the voice faded out, only to become louder again as she moved further away from the original stopping point. Perplexed and understandably shaken, the newsreader mentioned the occurrence on her radio show. Within minutes, the lines were flooded with callers with similar stories to tell. Many workers from the Jervis Center claimed to have seen figures of a woman in an old nurse's uniform wandering between the stores, while others reported instances of fruit being tossed through the air. That's funny. Fruit being tossed through the air by an unseen force. So apparently the ghosts throw fruit at people. Some of these people have even interacted directly with spirits while approaching the center's bathrooms beside Burger King, just in case you ever visit. One was eyed by a woman who whispered inaudibly at him before vanishing into thin air, and several more men mentioned having met another female spirit who blew flirtatiously in their ears before likewise disappearing. So at least it's other than the fruit throwing, it sounds It sounds like not too bad of a haunting, if there can be a not bad haunting. Biden, what's up, Biden? Jeffrey's back. What's up, Jeffrey?
Yep, Jeffrey's back.
I'm gonna throw that link in the private chat, Sid, if you want to read the next one.
You gonna make me do it? Okay.
It's only 6 of them, so I read the first one. If you want to read the second one, we can kick it back and forth.
Give me a second. I'm not as technically inept as you are. No.
I'm not a smart man, but I know your YouTube is.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what Google is. Which one did you read? The
I read.
Post?
Yeah, I read. I just started and read the very first one. So the next one would be the Drunken Thaddy.
Really?
Yeah, the Drunken Thaddy and the Bishop's Lady.
That sounds like a bad night at the bar. Yeah. Give me a second.
You weren't here, Angela Straven, earlier when we were talking about a hotel. What state was it in, Sith? Do you remember?
Off the top of my head, no. No, wait a minute. I think it was. No, it wasn't Oklahoma. I think it was either Oklahoma or Utah, one or the other.
Yeah, it was either in Oklahoma or Utah. We read an urban legend earlier that there was a ghost that was touchy feely with you while you was in the shower with like cop a feel.
Yeah.
So of all the ghosts to be haunted by, we kind of agreed. I'm assuming we agreed that the shower hand job ghost would be the best one to be haunted by.
Mm-hmm. So far of all the legends, yeah, that would be the best one. All right.
I'm sure Biden Touch would really like that ghost.
Well, considering the last part of his name is Touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Biden?
Okay, Drunken Thaddy and the Bishop's Lady. Dang it, I still. Here we go. In Limerick City, there stands an impressive piece of stonework by the name of Thomond Bridge, spanning the dark waters of the River Shannon. It was built in 1836 by a pair of designers named James and George Payne. And if the rumors surrounding the dark mass are to be believed, the last name would set the tone of future happenings there for years to come. The main story surrounding Thomond Bridge is that of Drunken Thaddy and the Bishop's Lady. Thaddy being the local troublemonger, and Sloven. What is a Sloven? Anyway, and the lady being the wife of the Bishop of Limerick, who, unbeknownst to her husband, enjoyed a life of vice after the sun went down each night. One night, while both of these rough and tumble individuals were traveling the bridge, they crossed paths and began to fight. The Bishop's Lady tried to push Thaddy into the river below, but when he prayed to God to forgive his wicked ways and spare him his life, she was unsuccessful. The struggle ended when the Bishop's Lady fell into the water and drowned thereafter. Today there are many who say that the furious spirit of the Bishop's Lady haunts Thomond Bridge. ready to pull late night walks over the side to in whoa, okay, that made no sense. Ready to pull late night walkers over the side, there we go, and into the watery grave. Uh, Local legend has it that before this happens, the lady's fingerprints will appear on the story side of the bridge forever, marking the spot where she desperately clung in her last moments of life. The story of Drunken Thaddy and the Bishop's Lady is most famously told in the work of the poet Michael Hogan, which lived 18. He was born in 1828 and died in 1899. Who released an epic poem on the dark events and aftermath of the night of that night. Excuse me, that night. Ooh, the next one sounds pretty good too, but
I don't know how to pronounce that second word, but
for
fermenage,
uh,
fermenog. I don't know how you pronounce that. How an
well, no,
Australian
well, if you pronounce it
or
in our language,
fermenade.
in our language, GH is either, I think, at a F sound to it, like laugh or light. So I would say Fermanagh because kind of like
Yeah,
light, Ligh. I would say Fermanagh.
dire wolves and fermenol. That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Any fans of HBO's hit series? Oh, by the way, if you're just tuning in, we've been talking 50 states urban legends, and Anthony Dark Gift Comics brought up Ireland has some urban legends, so we're running through some Irish urban legends currently.
Frickin' Anthony.
Any fans of HBO's hit series Game of Thrones are sure to have a special place in their hearts for the dire wolves, a litter of canine companion. Yeah, a litter of canine companions rescued by the show's leading players, the Stark children. Depicted as an incredibly large and intelligent species of wolf, the dire wolves are considered to be the products of legend before the Starks happened upon them. Similarly, there are plenty of Game of Thrones lovers who assume that these creatures were dreamed up by creator George R. R. Martin, but this couldn't be further from the truth. In reality, dire wolves were an actual species that existed some 12,000 years ago. They had thick, heavy bones that brought their weight to anywhere from 150 to 240 pounds, and that went for their teeth too, with a bite more than 30% more powerful than the gray wolves we know today. For 300,000 years, these creatures were fearsome predators that established their territory from Canada to Bolivia. There is much evidence. I was about to say, how's this an urban legend? But now we're getting to it. There is much evidence supporting the argument that prehistoric dire wolves are still. Oh, never mind. No, we're not. No, yeah, we are in a minute. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. And now I'm just talking to myself. Sorry, everybody.
No,
I'll go
no,
back. I'll
no,
go back
no.
to reading.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just like,
Well, I was reading it and I was like, where the hell did we get into the urban legend? And I was like, oh, here it is. I'm like, no, it's not. But then I looked ahead of this. I'm like, oh yeah, we are. Most of
yeah,
this
yeah.
is not about the urban legend, but we're getting to that. There is much evidence supporting the argument that prehistoric dire wolves are fully extinct today. Now here we get to the urban legend part. However, sightings in County Fermanagh, Northern Ireland, people in Ireland are like, fuck you, that's not how it's said, could suggest otherwise. In 2012, several hikers claimed to witness a pack of these fearsome creatures on the hunt, describing them as wolves with stockier legs, a wider head, and shorter ears, which matches the descriptions of these ancient beasts exactly. While nothing has been reported since then, it certainly got the county's residents on high alert. That was not a very good urban legend because most of it was just the history of dire wolves. And the last sentence was like, some people saw them in 2012.
Or someone joked us, and we're now talking about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they did. They did cover a lot of Game of Thrones at the beginning. Now, granted, this is just one of like the first random articles I pulled up.
Right. No,
All
that's
right,
cool.
Curtis. Have a good day at work, Curtis. I appreciate you dropping by. Hopefully, I'll see you again next week. Yeah, I know Curtis was saying he had to clock in soon, so I'm assuming he's going to work. Or he's on work release and he has to report back to the jail. One or the other.
I don't think we got inmates watching YouTube on.
You never know. I mean, there's murderers with blogs that are in prison. So,
well, yeah, that's because, believe it or not, now this is a fun fact. I've got a nephew that's in federal prison right now, and they have access to the internet, and for every minute they're on the internet, they've got to pay out of their pocket for. It's X amount of money per minute. So if they want to be on the internet and write an email, they're going to pay for it.
So you better jack off really fast. If you're paying for that stuff, it's like, hurry the hell up, Pornhub. I'm having to pay for this out of pocket. Although I'm pretty sure they can't access stuff like that. But, I'm just being a smartass and being funny.
That.
But back to the urban. Enough about prison.
Yeah, but
you want to read the next one? The moving mother of Ballin Spittle. I don't want to say Ballin Spittle because that's just going to get Biden. That's just going to get Biden all worked up. So we'll say it's Ballin. There's no way to say it without it sounding horrible.
Okay, all right.
However, Ballin Spittle. There we go.
No. How about we just skip that one because of the ballin and the spittle, and go to the next.
It's even interesting. It's about a statue. You can skip that one if you want to. I'll go back to that one. If you want to read the next one, the patron of Gravediggers Pub.
Yeah, Biden's not trolling me on ball and spittle. Sorry, no.
That's fine. Next. I'll let him troll me. I'm cool with little touchy trolling.
Wow. All right. The patron of Gravediggers Pub. Hey, we're talking about Brian.
Yeah, that's what I thought about too when I saw
it. Casting aside for a moment all of the strange and oftentimes harrowing rumors on this list, there's one that's simply music to our ears, and that's the best pint of Guinness in Dublin is poured in Kavanaugh's Pub, aka the Gravediggers, in Glasnevin.
Glasnevin.
Yeah.
Let me look at
it. I
would say Glasnevin. Glasnevin.
Yeah, Glasnevin.
That's how I would pronounce it.
Yeah, it sounds right. Even though
it's right to our Yankee ears anyway. They would call us Yanks, even though we're from the South. They would still call us Yanks. Everybody here to them is Yanks.
Yeah, them is probably Glasnevin or some shit like that. Whatever. Pardon for the mispronunciation. Any Irish in here? This local favorite has been standing since 1833. And is named for the original owner, John Kavanaugh, who fathered 25 children. And
holy shit!
And has many descendants still alive today.
Basically, he must have lived in bed or had multiple women. I think
we found Biden's lineage.
There had to have been like multiple wives or mistresses or something.
Yeah, with 25. I don't believe
there's no way that one woman could give birth to 25 kids.
Not 25 kids in their physical life, considering.
Well,
9 months to conception.
There was that show that was 19 kids and counting or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't she have more kids after that? So she was getting pretty close to 25.
Yeah, but the thing
And
is,
I would assume the last couple kids just like barrel rolled out and were like, there was no pushing or anything. It was just like, it just come out.
yeah, but even the kids are having kids, more kids. They're trying to follow in their mother's footsteps. I'm like, no, that's a lot of.
Yeah, that's a whole nother subject, a whole nother subject about those weird people. But I'm going to assume it was not with the same woman. Not
Right.
at that time, because at that time, childbirth was a much more dangerous thing. So
Right.
I'm going to assume that one woman didn't survive 25 childbirths in that time of history.
Even today, even with our technology, 25 kids, I do not believe is physically possible because from conception to birth is roughly 8 to 9 months, depending on if the pregnancy goes normally. That's a long time. That's a long time. But anyway, of course, Glasnevin is primarily known for its cemeteries, both Glasnevin Cemetery and Prospect Cemetery, which lies directly beside this pub and gives its nickname. Due to this, one long-standing tradition is for patrons to order a pint and shoveling a scoop of graveyard dirt against the outside wall of the pub. With the pub's close proximity to Prospect Cemetery, it's only natural that a couple of its occupants might occasionally swing by for a helping of the black stuff. One of this institution's most well-known customers is regarded very fondly by the other living regulars. This spirit takes the form of an older gentleman in vintage tweed and has been known to appear in the corner of the bar quietly enjoying a Guinness until he finishes his pint and vanishes from sight. The staff encourage any customer who sees him to buy him one for the road too. That's kind of cool.
So in other words, it's a ghost of a drunk that's like, hey man, you need to buy me a pint too.
Yeah.
So I guess now I have to go back and read.
No, you don't have to. We can pass by it.
The one about Ball and Spittle. Which Biden must have left because I'm surprised that Biden touched it and chimed in just from us talking about Ball and Spittle. So he may not be here, so I can read. The. Let's see. The moving mother of Ballinspittle is how I'll say it. Ballinspittle. I don't know how that would be pronounced by somebody in Ireland, but that's as close as I can get. In late July 1985, something bizarre was happening in the village of Ballinspittle, County Cork. Traveling home one evening, a local claimed to have seen a roadside statue of the Virgin Mary move on its own accord. And while this on its own, people don't know how to write anymore.
Well,
it's like that doesn't make any sense the way they wrote that. Either that or I can't read properly.
Well, we both got a touch of that.
Because it says move on its own accord. And while this on its own, comma, this story would have been very easy to disregard as a trick of the light. Countless other Ballinspittle inhabitants, as well as people all over Ireland began to come forward with similar stories over the following weeks. People from home and abroad flocked to the 30 sites, where the divine activity seemed to be occurring, with up to 100,000 said to have visited. With up to 100,000 said to have visited Ballinspittle alone. Of course, you want to go alone. You don't want to go with somebody else. That'd be kind of weird. The Catholic Church was uncertain of the legitimacy of these cases, with one bishop outright calling the phenomenon an illusion. But who could say for certain what was happening? According to a team of psychologists from the University of College Cork, the version was the result of staring at stationary objects during the transient light of dusk. Anthropologist Peter Mulholland has said that the visions of the Virgin Mary in Irish culture is the result of the population's relationship with the religion in childhood. However, the truth is anyone's best guess, and there are plenty who believe that the mother truly did appear all over Ireland between July and August in 1985. In fact, the phenomenon spurred on the creation of several so-called cults dedicated to remembering this happening, with one gaining members as far out as Russia, many of whom are reportedly still active today. So apparently there's still a ball and spittle cult somewhere.
Yeah. It's called Pornhub.
Which I guess if you want to read the last one, I'll look if I can find something else other than ball and spittle.
Yeah, because the last one's a long one. Yeah, so the Black Cat of Killikee. Let me get rid of this and do this. Yeah, okay. When Margaret O'Brien and her husband purchased an abandoned house on the outskirts of Dublin City in 1968, they could never have foretold the events that were soon to unfold. Margaret's intention was to restore the property to its former beauty and reopen it as a public arts center, and she was busy with other projects at the time of the renovation. She allowed several workmen to live on site to maintain pace. Soon the workmen began to report back to the O'Briens with some disturbing stories. After dark each night, they would hear animal sounds from within the walls of the house. So, there. They started to hear animal sounds within the walls of the house, though could find no evidence of infestation. At first, Margaret disregarded their concerns, but soon she would learn for herself the strange condition of the building. Arriving at the house one evening to speak with the project's lead painter, Margaret was met with yet more claims of wild animals loose on the property, present in sound but never sight. Eventually, Margaret agreed to stay the night in order to observe the situation for herself. Walking to her room, she saw it for the first time. A gargantuan black cat sitting in the middle of the hallway. Wow. The creature, she claimed, was no ordinary house cat. Rather, it was panther-esque, with evil and intelligence in its gaze. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared from sight, and Margaret was once more alone. Soon after, the lead painter was also visited by this monstrous cat, this time accompanied by a wall of heavy mist. Margaret O'Brien was at this point a believer. She was also terrified and called for a local priest to perform an exorcism on the house. The the procedure seemed to be effective, the Arts Center opened and the community came and went as they pleased. However, the peace was not to last. One evening, a group of drunken actors decided to hold a seance in an attempt to call upon the sinister feline creature they had heard so much about. They they were, it seemed, successful. The haunting resumed more powerfully than ever before. The cat was now joined by the malevolent spirit of two nuns who terrorized guests buildings in the building's gallery. This time, Margaret on a medium for help and finally learned the true story behind this supernatural activity. The medium told her that the feline spirits had been attendants of the satanic rituals performed by the infamous Hellfire Club. Okay. She suggested that the house may have been owned by its members. Recently, in 2012, this theory has finally been given some bulk. At other site at another site said to have been frequently frequented by Hellfire members, and a painting depicting a black cat bathed in flames was uncovered. Killikee House is now privately owned. However, rumors of sinister encounters within its walls continue to this day. Just another example of a side of Ireland that's destined to be shrouded in mystery for good. Wow, I just felt like I read a book.
Yeah, that was a full one. Stig's here. Hey Stig, how you doing, bro? I hope you're doing well. Jesse Miller, I hope you're doing well.
What's going on, guys? Great for you to stop in.
I'm doing great today, Stig. I hope you're doing good as well. But I dropped you a link, Sith, in the private chat. We originally started, people just joining us. We originally started with an article that was like 50 states most popular urban legends, and we've kind of branched out from there. And now we were talking about Ireland from suggestion of Anthony, and I recently have found one that's like all of Europe, like the 15 most the 15 creepiest urban legends from around the world, actually, not just Europe. So I thought that would be an interesting one to. I still have part of a Bloody Mary left, so we have time for a few more urban legends, I think.
Come on, man, drink that shit. Sorry.
Let's see. The Indian village of Kuldahar was seemingly abandoned overnight. No one knows why, though there are a few eerie theories. Eerie theories, that sounds good together, doesn't it? There are structures in the town of Kuldahar that date back to the 13th century, but no one has lived there since 1825, when all of its residents seemingly vanished into thin air. According to local lore, 1,000 villagers completely abandoned their homes overnight without a trace. No one knows why they left, where they went, or even saw them leave. Theories to why they left range from poison wells to a greedy ruler levying high taxes to a dwindling water supply, though none of these explain why the inhabitants left so suddenly. You might be wondering why no one has tried to resettle the town. That's where the legend comes in. It's said that the village chief cursed the land. Apparently, anyone who tries to live there will die. The Indian Paranormal Society spent a night there and reported disembodied whispers, screams. Noises are common at dark hours. Many of our members have witnessed apparitions, heard footsteps, experienced unusual touches, and so on, according to Gulf News. So there we go again with the mysterious ghost touches. Yeah, it does sound like Roanoke. That's another interesting. Oh yeah. I know what I know what forest you're talking about, Stig. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the actual name of it. But yeah, Roanoke. The lost colony of Roanoke. That's also kind of a weird story.
Which one of those did you read? I was trying to find it.
It's the one just below the brown building looking thing. Like the ruins. It's below the Bigfoot and everything. You're looking at the second article I sent you, right?
Yeah. Okay, the Bigfoot.
Just below that is the one I read, where you see the brown building, the ruins. I read that one, so you can pick whatever one you want. Other than that,
trying to find something interesting, not something similar to what we've already gone over. Ooh. And we got in the UAE, citizens are afraid of the jinn or / genie. Al Duwais, Duwais. So I don't know. The word genie is crap. I forgot to blow it up. Dealing with a blind guy. Sorry, guys. The word genie is the anglicized version of the Arabic word jinn. Jinns can be good or malevolent beings. Al Duwais is one of the most famous jinns in the United Arab Emirates. She was even immortalized in a film in 2013. Her story is simple at first. She appears as a beautiful woman to attract men, but as soon as she's reeled them in, Al Duwais, I'm because I say it's like I'm duh. Al Duwais changes into a terrifying figure who eats the men she's enchanted. It's like something from Stargate. Though it might be a scary story to tell, to warn them about stranger danger. Stranger danger! There's a video that purports to be footage of one such jinn. Okay, that's weird. That was all of that one. It was a short one.
Yeah, this next one's I'll read it. Let me read a different one because I saw this in the U.S. article that we were looking at, but we didn't read it. You don't want to come across the night marchers of Hawaii.
Okay.
Night marchers, or Hawaki Po in Hawaiian, are the spirits of former ancient Hawaiian warriors who once in life protected Hawaii's most sacred people. Most scared people. These people were so scared, in fact, that commoners were not allowed to look at them. If they did, they would be killed. The night marchers weren't there to harangue anyone. I don't know how you pronounce that. Why do all these articles have to have fucked up words in them? They were simply I would say harass anyone. I don't know what that word is. I would say harass anyone. They were simply doing their jobs, which is why they traveled at night to avoid too many prying eyes. They continued to roam around Hawaii at night as spirits, and legend has it if you look directly at a night marcher, you will be marked for death. If you do happen to find yourself in the middle of a procession, you're supposed to lie down in the middle of the road in order to show respect. That was one I saw when we were looking at the first article.
Well, I'm looking at the one that in the first article that you're talking about because I couldn't, I didn't know where to look on the second one. I'm still. Here's one I saw from the first article. Also, it's
Okay.
a little bit further down. You know, and it's a shame that Wookiee's not here right now. The first reported chupacabra attack was in Puerto Rico in 1995. Since then, there have been alleged sightings up and down North America. The word chupacabra is Spanish for ghost sucker. No, goat sucker. Okay. Indeed, chupacabras are believed to be vampiric reptilian creatures that drain goats and other small animals of their blood. The first reported sighting of a chupacabra was in March 1995 in Puerto Rico when 8 sheep were found dead and drained of blood, with 3 small puncture wounds in their chest. 5 months later, as many as 150 farm animals were found dead in the same manner. The legend spread, and more sightings followed in Latin America and the southern U.S., though there have been alleged sightings as far north as Maine. In the 2000s, the chupacabra reemerged, but it looked, pardon me, a bit different. According to the BBC, it was described as a hairless, dog-like animal walking on 4 legs and quite horrific looking, hairless with a gaunt appearance and burnt looking skin. When alleged chupacabra bodies turned up, scientists DNA tested them. What? When turned up, scientists DNA tested them.
See, some of those articles, it should say scientists tested the DNA.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, that ain't right.
Yeah, some of these articles weren't proofread very good.
Identifying them as normal animals that were affected by sarcoptic mange. Their hair and fur had fallen out. However, the legend persists.
We'll do one more.
Your pick.
Well, I'm going off what Stig in the chat said. Check out the drogue. I don't know how you pronounce that in Norse folklore. Draug.
I would say Drog.
In Norse mythology, Draug are the ghosts of Vikings that rise from their graves to walk the world. It is said they first appear from the graves of wisps of smoke and have the cloying stench of decay. In addition to the smell and reanimation, Drogue also retain superhuman strength and the ability to increase their size at will. The Drogue were believed to be propelled from their graves to physically attack the living out of anger and envy. Regardless of how they were in life and death, they were only murderous and vengeful monsters with a thirst to attack humans at every chance. Like a contemporary zombie myth, it's also said that those who were killed by the drug were destined to become drug themselves. However, unlike contemporary zombies, they aren't mindless. In fact, they are usually depicted with human level intelligence, except imbued with more deeply with anger and hate, and also have some magical powers. As mentioned above, they could grow at will, and in some versions of the myth, were able to shapeshift into animals or pass through walls and other obstacles without impediment. Their only goal in their undead life seems to be attack and kill humans. That's great. In addition to turning their victims into more drug, they also reportedly enjoyed the taste of blood. Additionally, it was sometimes believed that they stole treasures to hoard back at their graves. They didn't just attack humans, they also attacked livestock, as this makes the living's lives a lot harder. While roaming, they'd often make a snack out of the countryside creatures. This meant that shepherds were also popular targets for the drug. They also delighted in suffering. It is said that they loved causing trauma and pain to their victims, and they weren't just quick killers. In some stories, they sit on the chests of their victims, bringing them just to the brink of suffocation over and over again. That kind of sounds like the guy in the one we read earlier that had heavier and heavier stones put on him, and then for some reason he cursed the town.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm totally going to butcher this ahead of time, so I'm sorry, Stieg, but in the I don't even know how to fucking say that. I'm just going to say a famous Norse tome, the drug of Thorolf had swollen to the size of an ox, and his body was so heavy that it could not even be moved without levers. The saga says about Thorolf was buried near, I can't read that either. Of all the sheep in the valley, some were found dead, and the rest that had strayed to the mountains were never found. Whenever birds landed on Thorolf's grave, they fell down dead. So how do you kill an undead being? Well, it's quite difficult, and they seem as difficult to exterminate as cockroaches. One of the surefire ways to rid yourself of the drug is to cut off their heads, burn their bodies, and throw their ashes into the sea. Another way to prevent the drug from wreaking more havoc is for a hero to wrestle it back to its grave and remove its head. I'm not volunteering for that.
No. Starting to sound like the Highlander.
To prevent the threat of the drug, it is suggested that big toes be tied together with needles driven through their feet. This could prevent them from being able to walk once they have become undead. Large boulders could also be placed on the graves or directly on the corpse to further prevent this from happening. Archaeologists have even found evidence of weapons buried with Vikings were rendered impossible to use when they were put into the grave. Like many tales of the dead coming back to life, it is believed that the drug folklore is born out of fear of dead bodies and the powers they held. Dead bodies are not only frightening and grisly reminders of what happens to all of us someday, they also carry disease and can be harbingers of death themselves. That was a good suggestion, Steve. That was a very interesting one.
Yeah. Even though it was butchered beyond even our beliefs because of our Western tongue.
Yeah, we had some really hard to pronounce words and names on these. You start reading it, and it's like, oh, fuck it. God. Even the United States ones had like crazy pronunciations of stuff. You're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay. Nobody's perfect.
We're not in any way professionals. That's why this stream is called Bloody Mary Brunch, and I day drink Bloody Marys. It's not called CBS News at 5 or whatever. I'm in no way a professional.
He said you did well, so it's okay.
Oh, thank you, Steve. Yeah, some of the words I didn't even try to pronounce because I would have butchered them. And one of them was in some other type font that I couldn't even pronounce if I wanted to.
Ball and spittle.
Yeah, that was That was probably the worst one of the day. Not because it was hard to. Well, I mean, I don't know if we were pronouncing it right. Not that it was hard to pronounce, but the fact that it looked like ball and spittle, which, of course,
Hang
all
on.
of us being guys here see it as ball and spittle.
Yeah, you guys look at this and you tell me. It's ball and spittle.
Yeah, I don't know how you would pronounce that. That was from the Ireland. That was from the Ireland myths, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
urban legends.
Yep.
Yes, which they have a whole different way of pronouncing things. I mean, I know we all speak English, but they speak a different English than we do, or even that they do in like mainland England or regular England, whatever you want to call it. So I don't know how they would pronounce that in like an Irish, vernacular.
I'm not a smart man, and
I
as a
mean,
matter of fact, I'm an idiot.
it could be like Balin spittle. I don't know. I don't or Balin spittle. I don't know what it would be, but it looks like ball and spittle to us. So I don't know
Or,
how you would
or
pronounce that.
ball and spitly.
Yeah, like Balin Spitley.
Yeah, maybe. It sounds a lot better when you say it that way because I'm sorry, ball and spittle. That's just nasty.
Yeah, I have no clue how you would properly pronounce that.
You can't even be more specific than that, Stig. It's just a Norse thing. Check out Holdra. Holdra.
It's apparently it's also known as Holder or Holdra.
Holder.
It sounds a lot like a succubus.
Well, yeah, because according to Wikipedia, the succubi or succubi, succubus darkness, succubus.
Succubus.
Yeah, succubus with my
Yeah,
ball.
so it's similar to a siren, a succubus, or a mermaid. Yeah, so it's another creature that lures men in because men are stupid and will be attracted to anything female.
Yeah, baby, come here.
And then something horrible happens to them.
Yeah, baby, come here. Succubus with your ball and spittle. Sorry, I just went out there with that one. Holdra.
Yeah, the holder is a seductive forest creature found in Scandinavian folklore. See, I can't even say normal words now. Scandinavian folklore. Her name derives from a root meaning covered or secret. In Norwegian folklore, she is known as the holder. She is also known as another word I can't pronounce, which means forest spirit, or telemaja, pine tree Mary in Swedish folklore. And Olda in Sami folklore. Her name suggests that she is originally the same being as the Vovahold and the German Holda. Let's see. In some traditions, the holder lures men into the forest to have sexual intercourse with her, rewarding those who satisfy her and often killing those who do not. The Norwegian holder is a lot less bloodthirsty and may simply kidnap a man or lure him into the underworld. She sometimes steals human infants and replaces them with her own ugly holder barn, or a changeling. In some cases, the intercourse results in a child being presented to the unknowing father. In some cases, she forces him to marry her. Stories of such relationships were common in Norway a long time. See, it seems like another word's missing there. Such relationships were common in Norway a long time. An elderly man from Vallards, sorry, Stig, claimed he had a child among the older people of Norwegian radio broadcasting. He was still alive around 1980. Sometimes she marries a local farm boy, but when this happens, the glamour leaves her when the priest lays his hand on her or when she enters the church. Some fairy tales leave out this feature and only relate to how the marriage to a Christian man will cause her to lose her tail, but not her looks, and let the couple live happily ever after. However, if she's treated badly, she will remind him that she is far from weak, often by straightening out a horseshoe with her bare hands, sometimes while it's still glowing hot from the forge, or even lift up a tree trunk. If betrayed, a holder can punish the man severely, as in one case from Sigdal, when she avenged her pride on a young braggart she had sworn to marry, on the promise that he would not tell anybody of her. The boy instead bragged about his bride for a year. When they met again, she beat him around the ears with her cow's tail. He lost his hearing and his wits for the rest of his life. So it's very similar to other succubus or siren type stories. Yeah, that is funny that there's so many succubus stories. It's like it obviously points out the weakness of men to the lures of women. And basically every culture, there's a story that points out the weakness of men to be lured in by women or feminine wiles that end in disaster, which still could be true today.
Well, yeah, very true, very true.
Although they're not necessarily succubuses or sirens, they're still men lured in by the wilds of women, only to have it go horribly wrong and them lose everything.
Yeah, all you need is some breasts and some vajayjay, and guess what? Men are caught. It's feminine wiles.
That's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, Anthony. Strippers.
Yeah, strippers.
That sounds kind of watered down.
Yeah, I'm about done. The ice is. It still looks better though than the one you got from Chili's.
No doubt.
Even though it's gotten watered down by the ice.
Dude, that looks awesome. Send me one.
Oh, that's watered down. So you know how dark the mix was before it got watered down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, strippers, I think, would be a modern day succubus. They lure you in. They lure you in and then either take all your pocket money and or max out your credit card.
Mm-hmm. With very little ball and spittle.
Or ghost handies in the shower.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that's still my favorite, man. You getting fondled while you're getting in the shower.
Yeah, that was probably the most specific and odd. I know we've read some odd ones today, but that was probably the most specific and odd, is that specifically when you went to take a shower, you would be fondled by a ghost.
But strangely enough, it never mentioned what gender the ghost was. Could have been a male ghost, a female ghost. Just all you know, you just randomly getting fondled in the shower. And I know women probably wouldn't have taken too well to that either, because you know how they are today. You're like, don't touch me. Sexual lawsuit against the hotel. Why? A ghost fondled me. Oh dear God.
They would Me Too a ghost.
Yeah, really.
They would post all over Twitter that the ghost in room such and such violated them, and they would Me Too the ghost. And then all of Twitter would go after the ghost.
Yeah, I know. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why they're called urban legends. Mm.
So now the question is, I just finished my last Bloody Mary. So do we want to end it now, or do we want to go full 4 hours even?
Your house, your rules.
I mean, I'm good with either one.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what else we're going to read, so I'm kind of thinking. I'm kind of thinking call it.
Mm-hmm. Because
I'm kind of thinking call it here, so it's not just us just sitting here talking.
My rambling ass needs to find some food.
Yeah, I hadn't ate today either, other than 4 Bloody Marys.
That's not good. No.
Bloody Marys are food. I mean, they have horseradish in them. They have tomato juice. They have celery seed. I mean, that's like a full meal.
Liquefied. Okay.
Yeah, it's like they say on the V8 bottle. Every serving of V8's what, like 1 or 2 servings of vegetables or some shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the vodka is like dessert.
Yeah, the vodka helps my body absorb the nutrients from the vegetables.
Sounds good to me.
Well, that's what I tell myself anyway. I actually meant to get up earlier and eat, but I already told you how I stayed up all night watching movies by myself like a loser, drinking beer. But I did actually plan to eat before the stream today, but it just didn't work out. So I think we're going to call it here, everybody. I appreciate everybody that stopped by and hung out with us. Everybody that's still here, Generation Productions, Dark Gift, some weird dude named Sith Lord.
Yeah, yeah.
Angelus Draven, I'm probably pronounced that wrong. Steeg, Jesse, everybody that was here earlier. Appreciate everybody stopping by.
Yeah, and just like a light switch, guys. Before you guys leave, if you don't mind, on your way out, hit that like button. It's always
and come back this Sunday. Actually, this Sunday I believe it's going to be at 8 p.m. this week. I'm trying to change again,
right?
Because I'm old and I have to get up to work Monday morning. So I think I'm going to change it to 8, so it goes to like 9, quarter after 9, and then I can go to bed because I had to get up at 5 a.m. every day, except for Wednesday and Thursday. So Name That Tune is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern this Sunday on my channel. And stop on by and see Name That Tune this week. It's going to be fun, I think, as it always is, hopefully. And other than that, I'll be back again next week. I don't know what the topic is because I just randomly pulled it out my butt earlier in the week. But I don't know what the topic will be next week. But come back next Thursday for another Bloody Mary brunch. And Seth, anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No. I'm good. But if you're around, like he's talking about, Name That Tunes this Sunday, come hang out, participate in the chat. We're going to have a wonderful panel this week, and also check back next week for some more Bloody Mary brunch. Ain't no telling what we're talking about. God, I hope he don't pull it out of his butt, because that's rather nasty.
Yeah, I kept that part off camera.
Yeah, you. But thanks everybody for showing up. Like I said, hit that like button on your way out.
I appreciate everybody coming by.
Like, share, subscribe. This guy right here, Honstar YT on Instagram and Twitter. Myself on Twitter at SithLord3827. Man, we appreciate you guys stopping by.
And I appreciate you hanging out with me today, Sith. Even though we read stories where we couldn't pronounce most of the names or places that were in the stories.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
But until then, I hope to see everybody Thursday, and also come back next Sunday. I done got ahead of myself again. Hope to see everybody this Sunday at 8 p.m. for Name That Tune, and also come back next Thursday for another Bloody Mary brunch. Everybody have a good day, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world.
Peace.
If this is your first time joining us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HanstarYT. Good night, everybody.